Hello everybody, welcome to another OSP live stream. Hopefully this one's not going to be as corrupted as last time. Whoops. We're playing some Ghosts of Tsushima again. I am Blue. I am joined by Red.
What's cracking, Big Smackin'?
And Cyan.
What?
And we're going to be running around doing some stuff. Looking at some things.
Oh yeah,
hot tea.
Still the cold tea.
No, sorry, no, this is the hot tea that I just poured. We made some tea before the stream. Real quick, thank you everybody who watched the Cold War video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did not enjoy making it. But also you may have noticed that we have some cool masks for sale, courtesy of our friends at Volante Design, who are a awesome clothing company and now making some sick as hell masks in the cool way. So we have some red and blue masks that you can get. Please consider getting one for yourself if you're interested in that, or you can donate to help us provide masks for students in the Massachusetts public school system, because Volante is a Massachusetts company, and we wanted to have a nice local impact. So if you want to donate to help them provide masks for other students, you can do so following the links that is down in the description of this here stream.
Woo!
So that's,
it's actually in
fun.
the description, right? You're sure about that?
Yeah, no, it is. It's. I swear I got it right this time.
Why was the wind red that time?
Because I'm not actually tracking anything. Yeah.
It's just like we are windy.
Yeah.
But for no purpose.
So at the end of the last stream, we were doing a little a thing to get this guy's armor. We're gonna finish that today. Because armor is cool, and I want this guy's armor. So that's basically our overarching goal, but we're going to be seeing what cool shit we find.
A couple
Journeying
people,
deep into uncharted
A couple
land.
people asked how we got the stream to be fluid. Well, first of all, we just started, and second of all, we halved the quality.
Yeah, we cut the
Yeah.
resolution in half. So it's pre-fucked. That way the frame rate ideally won't get messed up later.
If
Well,
we
okay,
fuck it
to
now,
be
then it won't be
charitable.
fucked for you.
Yeah.
Okay. To be charitable, we basically finally figured out why OBS was giving us such a choppy frame rate, and when it wasn't doing that when we were streaming from the Switch for Breath of the Wild, and it turns out basically the PS4 is a bit more taxing than the Switch, and it kind of overloads the GPU if you let it. Sorry, that's a lot of fun
Yeah,
happening in the background.
the fire
Beep,
engine.
beep. Whoop, whoop. Yeah, so basically if we lower the resolution and make it so the PS4 is doing less, then it doesn't overtax OBS, and then OBS can actually stream. So hopefully it works, and so far it's working really great, guys. I think we might have finally gotten it,
Awesome.
gotten it to work.
Also, a cool thing is that you saw I was fighting some Mongols, but then there was one of the Straw Hat Ronin there as well. Since the last little story mission where Ryuzo and the Straw Hat Ronin team up with the Mongols, they get very much more dangerous because the Straw Hat Ronin are really good sword fighters, which is a cool little wrinkle to the gameplay. I'm going to turn you up slightly, Red, because I'm having a little bit of a hard time hearing you, just on my end.
Yeah, sounds good. No worries.
I'm checking someone's
Of course, the other possibility is because Cyan's on stream from the beginning, and that's why it's working well.
Oh, yeah.
True, because I'm working from home today because it is Friday. I work in the office the first half of the week, and then at home the second half of the week because coronavirus.
No, we're not supposed to say the name.
Because
The
Backstreet
Backstreet
Boy
Boys.
reunion tour. Are one of you guys Danish? No.
No.
Nope.
No?
I mean, I could be persuaded if you're offering, but... Oh, no, you can't put your shield on fire. That's so not fair.
Lucky
can't
Charm
touch your
Cyan.
fire.
I just have a degree in engineering that I don't use enough.
It actually gives you a passive area of effect buff
Exactly.
to all engineering-related projects in the area.
I only got it once I leveled up to level 6, but now that I'm level 8, it's pretty cool.
Yep.
That was fun.
Will the Backstreet Boys be at the wedding? I sure hope not.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Backstreet Boys are not invited.
No.
Tell me why?
Tell me why,
Hey.
'cause you kind of suck. No, Backstreet Boys are fine. The Backstreet Boys reunion
I feel
tour
like-
is not.
it's genuinely kind of amazing to me that boy bands don't seem to have the same like child star descent into madness that most other, performers of that age range tend to do when
Disney
they hit
contracts.
past post-puberty.
Disney contracts. That's the
Does
only
that make it better
determining
or
factor.
worse? Yeah.
I feel like Disney contracts make things a lot worse.
Yeah, I think they just like successfully bury the breakdowns, whereas, when the Backstreet Boys actually did their reunion video, they all seem to be like relatively well-adjusted adults with like families and homes and...
I think now they bury the breakdowns, but at first I think people were using breakdowns as kind of like a way to get out of Disney contracts. At least that's the conspiracy theory.
Ooh.
Which is why sometimes you'd see like a big like dramatic thing about a former Disney star who is still working for Disney, and then suddenly they'd be former Disney stars because they're no longer working for Disney, and then they'd be like, fine. This is my conspiracy theory.
Yeah, I feel like the causality could go either way. It could be like, this situation is the worst and I'm super stressed, and then they're like, fine, get out of here, you're bad for our image, and then it's like, now I can sleep.
Yeah.
Or, alternatively, like, oh, I'm just so unstable, and Disney's like, get out of here, you're gonna damage our brand, and then it's like, phew. 50-50 odds. I don't know why I'm giving them, like, 20s Chicago gangster voices, but...
Just imagining for like child stars, like, oh, so-and-so forced to cut contract after incoherent, poorly spelled tweets from 2 years old in 2012 resurface.
Oops.
Oh, God.
Oh, man. I was trying to attack that guy, I just got whacked in the face. It's the only time I've been too late in the standoffs. Uh-oh.
It is kind of funny watching you go sailing merrily backwards when the rest of the fighting is like pretty solid samurai choreography, and then at some point when you get hit, it's just like, and you go merrily sailing away.
Come sail away, come sail.
Is this a thing? Oh yeah, this is a thing. Let's see what's in here. This
People, probably.
Yeah. Hey,
People
douchebags.
in an open world game? No way.
At one point you had 666 people watching, but we missed it.
All right, some of you go away.
Joke answer, I can prove Cyan is Danish as evidence I provide the squirrel. Ooh, that's some compelling evidence. Again, I'll take you up on that offer if you're up for it.
What? Am I missing something? Is this like...
No, I'm missing it too.
The chat is weird. I like to just read the chat and like read the comments that I think are the best out loud.
Oh god, chat, don't get me started. Please don't get me started on the Inuyasha sequel. You know I won't be able to stop. That's unfair.
My favorite thing is when, like, something happens in a video and someone posts a comment like, oh my gosh, like, Blue is a fan of blank. You can tell because of the way he referenced this. I'm like, you have a very generous interpretation of how much media I consume.
Bold of you to assume I've ever heard of a pop culture in my life.
Yeah, it's like today we had a JoJo's meme on the Cold War video, which we can get into that if we want, but we definitely don't have to. And someone's like, aha, this proves it. Blue watches JoJo's, which is like fair. I would say it only proves that I exist on the internet. Wait, what?
You just called it
JoJo's bejoing JoJo, I think.
Oh, I said it wrong. Fuck! Ow! Dead. Damn it. My composure was broken.
The chat wants to know if I think they're all weirdos. Not all of you.
That's damning with faint praise if I've ever heard it.
Nice arrows, dumbasses. Ow!
You should have made a Mojo Jojo reference. That would have been better.
Mojo Jojo Stalin.
Yep.
One of which is slightly more evil than the other. Take a guess.
See, I feel like the funny thing is, people who are like, oh man, you secretly watch JoJo. It's like, listen, nobody secretly watches JoJo.
Speaking of
If
which,
you're into JoJo, it like projects around you like an aura. Everyone can just tell. The people who like occasionally reference JoJo are the ones who just passively absorb through pop culture osmosis the JoJo-ness that has pervaded our society.
I was gonna say Black Fox 413.
Oh, that's Sark.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been drinking the JoJo's Kool-Aid lately.
The JoJo
Oh
juice.
boy.
The JoJo juice.
I've only seen 3 episodes of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and they were the first 3 episodes.
Indigo would like to point out that she did add the JoJo reference, but also did not watch JoJo.
See, that's the thing. If you have to add the reference, the JoJo-ness has not yet pervaded your being.
You just have to be able to see anything and know that a JoJo's reference could be made, and then you don't even need to make it. You know, it's done.
Yeah. It's because the JoJo fans will not let you forget that they are JoJo fans, you see. It's like during the halcyon days of Game of Thrones, you couldn't go 5 feet without somebody, like, unwillingly telling you some new plot development that you don't care about, and you could not care less about, but now you know all the details of the Red Wedding, and that more recently there was the Purple Wedding, and gosh, someone got stabbed, isn't that interesting? And you're like, no, it's
Which time?
If I were interested, I would already know these things. Anyway.
I can't spell.
I don't know if there's anything that has been so quickly just, like, spoiled to death that everyone knows what happened on the most recent Game of Thrones episode just because of just the internet osmosis of, like, things that people say on Twitter or, like, anything else. I can't think of anything else that happens, and then everyone knows exactly what happens, whether or not you were there, whether or not you watched it, whether or not you cared. It's just like, you will know what happened on the most recent Game of Thrones episode.
So, like, my favorite thing about Game of Thrones is I actually have read most of what's come out. I've read at least the first 4 or 5 books.
Oh, so you've read all the books that will ever come out. Cool,
yeah.
cool.
But,
the spiciest take of 2020.
So the thing is, I was reading one of them, I think it was like the 3rd or the 4th, whatever. And I'm talking with a kid who I worked with at the time. We were working at a pool. And I referred to Daenerys as Dany because that's what they call her regularly in the books. And he's like, no one calls her that. And I, like, was showing him the book. He's like, that's not a thing. I'm like, but.
Did he call you a fake girl, or did he not say it out loud?
Oh, God.
No, he did it. He and I were actually pretty chill. But he was just like,
oh, good.
Wait, no, because he admitted that he's only ever seen the show, and I have never seen. I think I've, like, watched part of the first episode. It was like, absolutely not for me. But, like, so I've read the books and he's seen the show. So we admit that there might be some differences. But I was saying, like, yeah, we're at the point where Dany does this. He's like, no one calls her Dany. I'm like, they do though.
You fool.
Are we allowed to?
You have no idea what you've unleashed.
Gronies? Is that a derogatory term that we can use at their expense?
Gronies?
I'm kidding. Thronies, like bronies.
Oh, that makes more
thrones.
sense. That's brilliant. Too bad it's like 6 months too late to actually be cutting. Oh god, but when it was ending, it was like every single new episode, in the hours before the episode aired, all I would see on Twitter is people being like, maybe this one will be good.
Yeah.
And then all I would hear for the next 24 hours was, no! Followed by every single plot detail from the episode. So, good stuff. There's always something. There's always some media that is like the media that gets talked about. It's not the one that everyone's talking about, but it's the one that everyone has heard about. And there's always like one. And right now it might be Joj.
Yeah. Someone also pointed out that's very similar to the dandelion / dandelion / Yaskir thing. In the books, he's not, well, at least to the point that I'm at, which I think I'm on the 5th or so one. They don't actually call him Yaskir up till that point, at least. He's always, well, I thought it was dandelion because you're reading the books and it reads like dandelion, but apparently it's dandelion, which...
What? That's
That
dumb.
seems
It's
needless.
dandelion. I've seen it written.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a
Look,
book.
It's
It's
the word
written.
dandelion. You can't... But I've said that and people are like, I'm pretty sure it's dandelion. I'm like, are you sure about that?
Sounds fake, but okay.
But yeah, so then
They
people
could
are
have
like,
spelled it a little different, but whatever.
But yeah,
I thought
so
it was
Two
a
L's,
nickname.
and then your point is not even slightly, obscure. It's very clear. Just
Or
put
an
2 L's in it.
I instead of the E. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
But-
anyway.
either way, it's, oh, Yaskir is in the original Polish. There you go. Thank
Ah,
you, Yellow.
that
That
makes sense.
explains... That
Makes a lot of
explains where it comes
sense.
from. Because I was
Witcher's
like,
in
it
Polish?
doesn't say in the book. I'm like, I know they're the same character, but...
See, the funny thing is, because The Witcher...
The Czech translation is marigold. All right.
Huh.
I wonder
I
what
guess
they
that
call
proves it's
Tris
supposed to be
then.
the flower.
Yeah. This is Tris Yaskier. Don't ask.
Ask me no
The funny thing
questions.
is, because the Netflix show got so big, you can now sort of tell which Witcher fans are fans of which part of it.
Yeah.
I will say, I've never
like-
played the games, and I kind of want to. But
Well, but that's the fun part, because you can see the ones who are like fans of Game Geralt because they're like, oh yeah, he's like kind of a surly team dad, but he sure does express his emotions to the people he loves. And then the show fans are like, you guys are getting emotional expression? So, and then like the book fans call him Dandelion instead of Jaskier, and I was like, is that like a nick? What's happening? Because I've seen like 3 episodes of The Witcher. I've never read the books. I've never played the games. I basically have absorbed this through memes.
How else will you know that Geralt is a knight at one point?
For the most hilarious reason.
For the most hilarious reason, which I won't say because they'll probably get to it at some point during the show. But it's just like...
That's the thing I really like about The Witcher is that, like, the books and the games, and at this point now the show, are very different, but each have a lot of value to them and have, like, their own kind of corners of the fandom where, like, some people overlap, some people have, like, 2, some people only are into 1, but it's the thing where, like, you can genuinely enjoy all of them in different ways because they are all good in their own ways, and that is exceedingly rare.
Apparently Dandelion comes from the audiobook, which makes sense. That's how they pronounce it in the official audiobooks. Also, people want the bell hat.
Oh, bell hat! Oh my god!
Bell hat! Bell hat! Bell hat!
A bell hat! Oh. Okay, hold on.
I will say that the funniest thing to me about the Witcher fandom, specifically for the Netflix version, is that the guy who plays Jaskier is, like, not small. He's, like, 6 feet tall and pretty well built. It's just that because he's next to Henry Cavill all the time, everyone assumes he's a twink. So, like, all the art is like, I'm sorry, you know he doesn't actually look like that, right? He's, like, pretty cut and, like, hairy also. It's just that he's next to Henry Cavill, who's all those things but way more. Yeah. So...
I feel so
twink by proximity
in having made Alcibiades Henry Cavill with anime eyes. Like, if only me from 2015 knew, holy shit.
Yeah.
Thank you for the bell hat. My life is complete.
Chat is delighted about the bell hat.
I only know the Witcher because of Gwent.
Oh.
Valid.
That is valid.
There are many ways you can get into this. Indigo says, Coast Joey Beatty height discourse. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no,
I can't pronounce anything.
Something.
This was a problem growing up where growing up I had a much bigger like visual vocabulary than I had like words that I had actually heard, which led to me mispronouncing words for up until now. I still do. What's the one I always mispronounce? The one that you're constantly correcting me on.
I know what word it is, I just don't remember off the top of my head.
It's fine. But, like, because I've seen these words so much more than I heard it. Like, you know, when you're, like, 7, 8 years old and you're reading a word for the first time, your brain just, like, fills in a pronunciation, and then you don't hear that word for, like, 8 more years, and you're like, wait, that's how it's said?
Oh, absolutely. For the longest time, I thought Colonel was pronounced Colonel, because it's fucking stupid that it isn't.
And Arkansas was Arkansas, because why would those be different? I think that's the entire
naturally.
point of the America Explained Vine.
I mean, of Megamind's many excellent developments, one of them was for the first time in my life, realistically seeing that portrayed, because it's funny that that the main character pronounces words wrong. Like, he says melancholy, melancholy, but it's like, he grew up in a fucking prison with only books and, like, convicts to teach him. Obviously, he doesn't actually, like... How many times would he have heard the word melancholy in his life? So.
The word that it is reticent.
Oh, yeah.
I always pronounce it reticent because that's how it looks. And I don't think I actually heard that word said out loud until, like, 3 or 4 years ago.
By me?
By you? You're the only person I know who uses that word in real life.
I use a lot of dumbass words in real life.
Sometimes you just say things, I'm like, I'm sorry, what?
So, sigil versus sigil?
Oh, yeah.
That's the one that annoys me.
Yeah.
Of course it's sigil, yeah. That's the one that bugs me.
What are we, savages?
You mean savages?
I mean savages. Damn it! Oh, I was a second too late on the draw.
Thoughts on Umbrella Academy? I haven't watched it since Tuesday,
It's been 2 days, guys.
2 days! I'm gonna do it this
I've still watched it.
I know you have.
I haven't unwatched it.
I love that when you're trying to rescue the peasants, but there are still, like, bad guys around. They're like, no, not yet. Which is, like, the entire, like, point of the joke we were making about Lord Shimura. Like, no, not yet. Don't rescue me yet. Come back. Do it
I
right.
just don't want to be
Uh-oh.
rescued yet. Oh, explosion. I thought they were going to kill the peasant for that. Ah, yes.
There we go.
So, for my work, a lot of us share, like, remote desktops into this same program that we use, which isn't that, like, that unusual, but the problem is, there's no way to, like, check if someone's using it, especially now that, like, half of us are working remotely. And because they're in a remote desktop, if you email them, they usually won't see it because they're in a remote desktop. So you just kind of have to open it and hope that it doesn't kick anyone else out while you're opening it. It's probably the most anxiety-inducing thing I do on a daily basis. Because, like, if I open it, I see a document open, I'm like, dang it, my boss was using it, and I just kicked her out. They have to, like, close it and pretend like I didn't open it. It's fine. Anxiety be like that.
Yeah. Oh, mood. Ow.
That's not where I wanted to go. Apparently there are more Mongols here. I just don't know where they are.
Pronunciation is so much harder when you have dyslexia. You are almost definitely correct about that, Slater.
Yeah.
Yeah, my sister could say some words on that. Oh. Also, I'm sure this has to do with the game that you're playing, but someone with the name Nobe Important just put gets stabbed.
Yep.
Which was pretty funny.
Over here, dumb fucks.
I think you mean dead fucks.
Come get me, scrub lords.
I'm wrecked.
There we go.
Oh, I just remembered my most embarrassing. Wait, that's not how it's pronounced. So, musical artist Lord with an E.
Oh, no.
Unsurprisingly, I assumed that the E was not silent, because if it were silent, why not just fucking spell it like the actual word? So,
Lordy.
Oh,
I was at one point condescendingly corrected by one of our high school classmates while I was describing how I liked the musical works of Lorde.
Oh
That's
no.
pretty good.
Like, he'd clearly been, like, listening for, like, 30 seconds trying to figure out if if I meant Lord.
Is she memeing or
then,
does she
like-
just not know?
Yeah.
Oh lord.
Now the internet knows forever.
It's fine.
Oh, look at all that. Oh my gosh, look at all these icons. Beautiful. Love that.
Blue, do you have a thought on the story of the game?
I think it's really good. We actually talked about this a little bit last stream. It's not apparently much new under the sun, you know, as far as, you know, samurai stories go, but I don't mind that, not having a deep experience with, you know, a lot of the source material outside of, like, you know, clips and stuff that I've just kind of come across. And that one time, Red, when we watched Seventh Samurai in high school and made fun of it, that was great.
Good times.
But
That
as
was,
someone
yeah.
who, like, doesn't have a lot of experience with traditional samurai media, like, none of this is coming off as, like, tired or, you know, old tropes or anything. This is just, like, cool samurai shit, and I'm here for it, so... even if this isn't necessarily the deepest, you know, samurai story ever penned, I'm about it.
My guess is that they might have some more sort of self-indulgent samurai trope stuff in, like, side quests or something. Like,
Yeah.
I would be genuinely shocked if there wasn't a side quest where you, like, train an impoverished peasant village to fight, because that's, like, the quintessential samurai trope.
Yeah.
Um,
Not that way.
Yeah, but, you know, for most of it, they don't seem to really overload it, because most samurai tropes are, like, narrative beats and characterization, and narrative beats don't work in a story-driven, or an open-world game, even if, you know, it has a central plot, and, character traits kind of depend on the player to a certain
Yeah.
extent. So, like, I mean, the fact is, there's already some ludonarrative dissonance, cross that off the bingo cards, because, you know, your character, your uncle is like, now remember, always kill people face to face, and you're like, sure, uncle, and then, like, half of the gameplay is about, you know, ninjaing people
Yep.
till they die. So, you know, that's already a bit of dissonance, but it's, like, intentional dissonance. You're supposed to kind of feel bad about it. Whereas the quintessential, like, wandering Ronin archetype that Kurosawa really liked doesn't quite fit this guy, because he's a lot more driven, and the story is, like, about his narrative in a way that it isn't about that nameless character archetype. Sorry, I was like writing a whole thing about this earlier. So, basically the character archetype from Yojimbo and Sanjuro of the nameless wandering Ronin who basically wanders into the story, helps out, and then wanders out of the story at the end is very interesting because while that character is the main character, like, they have no backstory, you don't know anything about them, even their name is like usually fake or a nickname or something, and then they just leave at the end. So it's just these little vignettes through the lens of what this character just randomly wanders into. You know, this whole supporting cast, this random location with this new thing going on. It's a really good way to do, like, episodic storytelling. I mean, it's kind of... Oh, shit, wait. They also did that in Samurai Jack. Big surprise, but, They can't really do that here because your character is a guy with a name and a backstory that's motivating him because he's a video game protagonist. So it ends up kind of dodging this trope that's otherwise been used, like, a lot.
He's got big protagonist energy. I like how they keep standing on these things like they're gonna hit you with swords from the top of these pedestals.
Well, that's kind of what I ended up doing by accident a little bit earlier. They like me, are just lost in the polygon mesh of this arena.
Also, the comment has long since passed, but commenter Teddy Williams said, "At least you don't mispronounce D&D character names." And Teddy, I don't like you calling out our campaign like that. It's not very kind. To be fair, our DM likes to do interesting spellings. Green, if you're watching this. It's true.
See, the thing is, you can either, like, spend your whole life being like, oh, sorry, I didn't know how to pronounce that, I'll do better next time, and feeling sad and ashamed. Or you can just own it and make it a character trait that you continually mispronounce things.
Unless this
and
is
then
a
people
person's
can't get
name,
on you for
like
it
a real
because
person,
it's an
then
amusing
you should
quirk.
learn to pronounce their name correctly if they're a real person.
Right.
This
Don't,
only counts for
don't do
fictional
that.
characters.
Don't do that. Yeah. Yes.
I love Garrett, the Witcher.
Garth.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of Geralt, why the fuck is it not Geralt? I'm so upset. It's a soft G sound. Nobody calls people with G-E-R-R-Y like
Jerry?
Gary. We already have a spelling for that. That's Jerry. Anyway, I mean, we already also have a spelling for Jerry. G is just a stupid letter, all right?
Get rid of G 2020. If we sacrifice the G, maybe the Backstreet Boys reunion tour will go away.
Yeah.
And then there's Latin where the letter G and the letter C are functionally the exact same fucking thing, which is very annoying.
Just remembering my favorite Indiana Jones bit with but they didn't have the letter J, and then like the J panel falls out, and it's like, if they didn't have the letter J, why is it on this ancient tile puzzle on the floor?
Maybe it's not so ancient.
Someone came in and graffitied it.
Oh, did we stumble into a side quest? Whoops.
Oops.
Yeah, no, we've got side quest.
Oh no, now I have to problem solve. Oh god, oh, we're fucked.
How dare you have to problem solve during your work hours?
So what kind of side quest are we looking at here?
We're searching for the hidden item.
Oh,
what does
great.
that mean?
Go look for a place that lets you see the circles.
Okay, we're gonna follow this blood.
Quick, just army crawl around and maybe you'll run into it.
Blood.
There was some blood splotches.
Well, yeah, there. How do you know they're not going the other way?
That way.
Yeah.
I didn't.
People keep saying let's sacrifice C too. Leave C alone. It's the only one that can replace both S and also several other letters.
K.
K.
Right?
Yeah, but that's kind of...
And Q, if you try hard enough.
That's kind of the problem.
No. Leave me alone. Cyan must stand. I'm not spelling it with an S, because then it looks weeby.
Cyan.
Oh, God. I ended up in a furious argument over the definition of weebness the other night.
Oh.
Blue and I have had a discussion about the definition of weebness as well.
It was fairly short.
good.
It was pretty short. He's like, what is it if you really love Japan and like all Japanese culture and stuff, but like not like a weeb? I'm like, nope.
No, what I
No,
said
that's
was, what happens when you're really into Japanese history and culture, but you don't give a shit about anime, and you're like, still a weeb. Fuck!
I believe that's technically called a Japanophile.
Ah.
And by the way, if you look up the Wikipedia, if I happen to know this because if you look up weeb, it redirects you to the Wikipedia page on Japanophile. And by the way, the little tagline, the term weeb redirects here is pretty damning on its own. But it's got like a list of noteworthy historical weebs.
Wow.
Including a few who have like really, really European names and then also known as incredibly Japanese name. And it's like, oh, I wonder who called them that. So... It's got a long and beautiful tradition.
The Kushi Pagoda? What the? Oh, jeez, it's so far away. Ah. Let's go over here.
Did you find the item?
Yeah, but I have to go to a place, and I'm not about that
You gotta go to the place to do the thing.
Yeah. John Johnson might be there. He has a career doing thing in place. One time I was in a mod meeting with our Discord staff, and it was like 2 weeks after failed assassinations. I made a John Johnson joke, and they all kind of groaned, and I felt really bad about it. It's like, oh yeah, you guys have probably been hearing this on the server for like weeks now. Sorry.
Sorry, it's still fresh to me.
Yeah.
Also, someone just posted Y could vanish from history and I wouldn't like notice, which is bold for someone with a Y in their name to say.
Ooh.
I think we would very much notice if Y vanished from Histor. I'm awful.
Oh, great. Now we got chat arguing the definition of weebness.
Oh, no.
Well, and Indigo
Listen,
says,
guys.
don't badmouth my boy John Johnson.
Yeah.
If you don't know
Don't
who
assassinate me or my son ever again.
If you don't know who John Johnson is, then you need to catch up on your OSP lore.
Yeah.
Oh, someone said, no, it's history with an IE.
History, if
And
you're French.
then Yellow said, laughed in histoire.
Histoire.
Histoire. Histoire.
funny, people
Okay, French.
sassing
Okay,
my-
let's
my
not bring
French.
French into this when
Oh,
we're...
we were just talking about
we're
French,
talking about letters
though.
to cut.
Remember?
Yeah, but when we're talking about letters to cut, the one language that adds like 15 unnecessary silent vowels to everything.
So, Indigo is in the chat, but I'm going to recount this anyway. We were discussing words in French, and the word for apple came up, specifically pomme. And Indigo's like, well, then what's a pomegranate? And we're like, it's like grenade. And she's like, well, that doesn't make any sense, because like grenadine is cherry. And I'm like, actually, it's not. It's like black currant flavored. And she's like, still not a pomegranate. And then I Googled it, and it turns out it used to be pomegranate flavored. And Rev was like, yeah, I knew that. Turns out...
We had a big bottle of pomegranate grenadine, so I could make homemade Shirley Temples.
And then Rev was like, oh, is that where the word grenade comes from? I'm like, surely not. Turns out, yes, grenade is named because it looks round like a pomegranate.
Someone should tell the French that other things are also round.
Nope, just pomegranates.
I mean, France is sometimes referred to colloquially as the hexagon, so shapes aren't their strong suit. Ow.
It is kind of fun when the game gives you like the really cool cutscene with like the focus on the swords and the quiet contemplation, and then the actual fight is just like sword swinging 101, how to swing your sword at the guy.
There can only be one bell.
I will be Prime Bell.
According to one of your commenters, fun fact, in Brazil, people name their children with the letter Y because they think it looks cool. That's a big mood.
Oh, that's fair.
It's no fair that this guy's
I always
kicking
question-
me. I feel like that's cheating.
Can you kick him?
No.
Why not?
Actually, I can. Ow. Oh no, I died. Got a little too carried away switching stances.
That was pretty embarrassing.
Ow. Let's try that again. I do have a kicking stance, and I'm gonna see if I can use that.
Wow.
Someone said people who aren't Irish trying to pronounce Saoirse as hysterical or hilarious. That's fair. I had a friend named that. My sister had a friend named that growing up. Saoirse and Aisling, but we just called her Ashley.
Yeah.
That's not how you pronounce it. And poor girl.
Oh man.
They're doing well. They moved back to Ireland, actually.
Oh.
Yeah.
The College Humor cast has Siobhan.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, when I saw it written down, I was like, I wonder who this Siobhan lady is. She sounds cool. And then Siobhan, yeah. I felt so bad when I finally made the connection. I was like, oh well, now I know how to pronounce it. That's good. Actually, I had the exact same thing in oh god, one of the CW superhero shows. Introduced the supervillain Silver Banshee, who naturally was before becoming a supervillain,
I think
Irish.
That was Supergirl.
I think that was Supergirl. But when they introduced like Siobhan, that's when I realized, oh, Siobhan is an Irish name and spelled like that. Okay, all right. It was one of those, making the connection between the word you've heard and the word you've seen written.
It'd be like that sometimes.
You'd think I'd know this, because a large portion of my ancestry is, in fact, Irish,
Really?
and several family names involved. Yeah, man. But,
see.
like, the sort of... Like, there's... Thank you. There's, like, the one Irish branch, and honestly, it's, like... All told, there's parts from almost every country in Western Europe, in my lineage, many of which didn't get along, so... I mean,
Welsh.
just the
No.
part that some of it is Jewish pretty much guarantees that parts of it didn't get along with it.
Good fight. I'm gonna steal your stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, 8 supplies, dick.
And 6.
Oh, that's because I have the Charm of Inari, which gives me more stuff. It is super broken and the best charm in the game.
Hell yeah.
That bridge is also super broken.
Yeah.
Now everyone's just talking about really fun Irish names.
Beautiful. The most common, I think, Irish last name is Kelly, which is spelled in any number of different ways, and depending on who you ask, either just means descendant of this guy named Kelly, or troublemaker. So, not sure how legitimate that translation is.
I feel like an Englishman invented that etymology.
It's possible.
Has Blue been to Ireland?
I was supposed to have. My dad and I had a trip planned. We were gonna go. It was
April,
gonna
right?
be the big British Isles, but fuck England trip, where it was gonna be Ireland, Scotland, and Wales, but not England. It was gonna be great. But then obviously the Backstreet Boys booked out the entire country, both of them, both Ireland and the UK, fully booked out. So we couldn't do that. But maybe I'll be able to go next year.
We are taking the mother of all field trips once this is done, I swear.
Seriously.
It's like the only thing keeping me sane right now is like, oh man, all the places I'll go once it's like not deadly dangerous anymore.
Yeah, we had the idea for the the Italy trip where or Cyan would
cannot
join
fly.
me for the very end in Florence, which would be really fun. So I take like a 2-week sabbatical and just kind of go bop around Italy. And then Cyan joins me for the last part of it in Florence.
We'll see
Super
if that
fun.
happens.
And it's like, yeah, this will be in January. That'll be fine.
Nope.
Not
anymore.
So we'll see how that one goes.
Indigo would like to remind us that we're taking the mother of all field trips to the Blockbuster in Alaska and then also now Ireland.
Cool.
Hell yeah.
That works.
I feel like if we just we can just wait for the land bridge to Russia to reform and then drive. And
You really don't like planes, do you, Red?
No, I don't like especially not right now. Listen, okay, me and planes, we go way back, but it's not a good history together, all right?
That's fair.
It's like I don't have the travel curse that Blue does, but oh boy.
Oh god. The only
Me and
time I've
planes.
ever had real problems flying was when I'm flying with Blue.
Okay, look. I was in a plane that maybe was almost going to crash, and then I didn't die, and then after that it's just
Right.
been trying to get me.
Someone said you can just swim. No, thank you.
Not from that height. Oh, never mind.
That might be more difficult.
I was thinking about like from the plane going down.
No.
Planes crashing into the ocean, just swim.
Planes are okay.
And someone reminded
Me
us
and
that
planes have
sorry.
No, I can recount my sordid tales of my vendetta against planes later.
I was just gonna say that the Blockbuster in Alaska is indeed selling merch to the person asking questions in the comments. Continue, Red.
Oh,
Hilarious.
yes. Okay, so planes, listen, there's a lot that just makes them uncomfortable and inconvenient, and the part where the time delays are just like anxiety inducing, because it's like, okay, I gotta get there like at least an hour in advance so that security doesn't make me miss my flight potentially if I like packed my toothpaste wrong, and I gotta like take off my jacket and my shoes, which take a while to put back on because they're like big clumpy boots. It's just like a lot of things that just don't feel good to have to do in the middle of this giant open terminal. So that already makes you feel bad. And then it's like everything is so expensive, and I need to be up, like, usually I take early flights so that I have like a full day, but I also go to sleep really late, which means sometimes when I'm flying on less than an hour of sleep. Turns out that's really bad for you.
Yeah.
I've had like 2 noteworthy, very bad flying experiences. One of them was I basically took a little puddle jumper flight between 2 cities where it's like a 5-hour drive between them, but the flight is like half an hour. But that means that you never hit cruising altitude, which means it was half an hour of nonstop turbulence. Now,
Yeah, I've done
I'm not very prone to motion sickness, but I'm prone enough to motion sickness that that was really, really bad.
Sorry. Yeah, no,
But-
that sounds really bad.
Right. Yeah, that was bad. And then, like, when I landed, I was, like, getting picked up by family, including my uncle, who notoriously does not drive well. Like, he doesn't drive unsafely,
one of
but he
those
does
too.
that thing where, like, yeah, everyone does. Everyone knows one person who drives like this, where instead of maintaining a solid speed, they accelerate, and then they're like, oh, too fast, and then they decelerate, and they're like, oh, too slow, and then they accelerate. Which, if you've just gotten off a plane where you threw up twice because it was nonstop motion sickness, and then he drives you for like an hour, it's like, just kill me. Just end it right now, man. Just, it doesn't, none of this is worth it. So that was fun. That was good. And then the other one was I was flying to the East Coast at one point, and it wasn't so bad. The flight itself was pretty good, but I had a really dubious breakfast from like the Starbucks because I had like no time in the terminal before the plane took off, but I needed to eat something, and I also hadn't slept like at all. And I think that maybe that Starbucks had kept the breakfast boxes from like the previous day. And there's things in there that go bad fast. Like apple slices and then like a cookie, and it turns out if you let an apple slice sit on a cookie, the cookie just kind of turns into a paste. And you don't realize it was supposed to be a cookie.
Gross.
So that didn't sit well at all. And then, of course, what I did is I landed in Boston, and then I had to take like a lift to my hotel. And of course, Boston drivers are almost as bad, if not worse, for someone who's suffering from like not so much happy times in the tummy, you know? So got driven to my hotel. And then, you know, it was a lovely hotel. The person at the desk she was really nice, and she was like, did you have a nice trip? And I was like, you know,
No.
honestly, it was pretty rough. So I got my key, and I was like, listen, I'm sorry, I know it's early, but could I maybe check in early? She's like, oh yeah, of course, there's totally space. And I was like, thank you so much. And then I got to my room, and I put down my backpack, and I immediately just like threw up and passed out for 6 hours.
I think I remember
So-
you telling me about this because I'm like, I hope like Red got to where she was going okay, and then I got a text from you like several hours later, like I'm good.
Yeah, sorry, I just immediately passed out and like woke up feeling great just in time for dinner. So
Yeah.
it was bad. And normally planes are fine. It's just, you know, it's crowded, and especially right now, you always get some kind of sick from it, and then there's the motion sickness and the fact that, like, listen, I love hanging out in airport terminals when I have a lot of time because the restaurants are often really nice, except when it's LaGuardia. Fuck LaGuardia, but that's a story for a different rant.
Oh, I have a fun LaGuardia story too.
Ooh, let's mix it up. You go first.
Okay, so Blue and I were traveling to Disney.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Oh,
So
I
Blue
remember
and
this.
I-
That's right. That was LaGuardia. Yeah.
We're traveling through Disney from Boston. So we were flying. We would have theoretically been flying out of Boston, except for we weren't. We were flying out of LaGuardia, so you can tell this story's already off to a great start.
Yeah, that's
so,
always a bad
originally
sign.
we were going to drive down with a friend, but then they were going to go a different day, and we couldn't leave that early because work and stuff, so we decided that the smart course of action would be to take a bus.
Hell yeah.
With
This is
all the stuff that
rad.
yes, it is. With all the stuff that we
Ooh.
had, so that was fine. We got the bus at was it 4:30 in the morning?
I don't
think it was
even know.
4:30 in the morning. That's supposed to take us to Port Authority. Now I've spent a good amount of time in New York. I know where Port Authority is. I do not know where they dropped us off.
Oh god.
They dropped us off on the middle of a random ass street. Just
Yeah, they're like,
in
here you are, and
Manhattan
we're like,
somewhere.
this isn't Port Authority. They're like, yeah, it is. I'm like, it is not.
You lie.
You trying to fool me?
So then we had to figure out how to get all the things that we had to the bus station that then takes you to LaGuardia. So that by the time we get to LaGuardia Airport, it's probably I think our flight was at 2. I think it was probably 12. We got through security pretty quickly. That wasn't a problem.
Yeah, good God. It was bus to drive to bus to train to bus to airport.
Yeah, so we finally get to the
Wow.
airport. Our flight's at 2. We get through the flight. Now, if anyone's ever flown to Disney, I didn't know this because my family had always driven the couple times we went. We had always driven because there was a lot of us and it's hard to fly with small children.
Oh yeah.
So I had never flown to Disney, but it turns out they'll pick you up, which is great, right? Except for the fact that, for some reason, it took them a while to pick us up. Our bus was not till later, and then, by the time we finally get to, our hotel room, it's, 6 p.m. So at this point, we had been traveling for over 12 hours
Oh god.
to Disney. And Blue was like, hey, we're never doing this again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
And then flying back, we had to take we had to do a stop through flight, which was fine. It was just really funny. We were flying Southwest, so it was great because you just it was a stopover. We didn't have to change planes. The plane just stopped and a bunch of people got off, so we just got to go move to whatever seats we
Fuck
wanted.
yeah, look at this nonsense.
Ooh, I like how you have hair now.
I know. Oh
Ooh.
my gosh.
I'm like, I'll see it in a
magnificent.
few seconds because it's delayed,
Oh,
but I
no.
always feel the need to react appropriately. So it's
Yes.
I like the colors.
Yeah, I'm gonna
My
get rid of
goodness,
this
such a
helmet
fine
because it's
design.
got nothing on bell hat. But
It means pretty cool.
improved. Oh, that's fun.
Just looks like you taped something to your head.
Yeah, it really does.
But yeah,
Gosh.
I've had a lot of
bell hat,
not
gosh.
great flying stories.
Bell hat.
But my plane luck is about 17 billion times better than Blue's.
Oh god.
And the only time
Every time he travels.
yeah, I've had flights delayed before. I've had, we're taxiing forever because they can't find a gate to put us at. Whatever. I've had tight transfers. The only time I have ever, and I mean ever, had a flight canceled was when I was flying with you.
Yep.
And we had
Oh,
to
God.
rebook. And of course, we called them and we're like, hey, we need to be on this flight. We need to get there. And we were with my parents and they live close to there was 4 possible airports that we could fly out of. And they couldn't find anything for us for 2 days.
Yeah, it was bad.
Wow.
So we ended up flying a different airline, which sucked because you're booking a flight last minute. Which we got a
Right.
refund for the first flight, but we still had to pay more for the second flight. And they got us out that night. So I don't know why our flight was canceled. There was no logical reason for it to be canceled. We flew out of the same airport about the same time that we
Yeah.
should have, but for
cursed.
some
I'm
reason the flight we were on was canceled.
That's pretty whack. Oh god, I'm just trying to. Because here's the thing. Everything up to and the process of getting through security, I don't like. But once you're in the terminal, it's kind of really nice most of the time. It's there's restaurants, and honestly, after a while, I've had flights delayed a certain amount, something's half an hour up to 7 hours one time. That was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But it was mostly just there's restaurants, there's shares. I tend to make sure that I travel with a backpack so I don't need to worry about where's my checked luggage. Oh no, my stuff. So that helps reduce the stress. And then it's like, oh no, we're being delayed enough that I can actually sit down and have a proper meal. What a shame. But LaGuardia, I don't know how it happened, but the terminal that I ended up in didn't have anywhere to eat. Like, no restaurants. It had those, like, tiny, tiny snack things that are basically just, like, a shelf against the wall that has, like, uncrustable sandwiches and, like, 15 kinds of soda and candy and stuff. It was like that. And, you know, normally that would be my jam. But there was no, like, actual food. So, when I was in that terminal and my flight was delayed about 3 hours over the course of, like, incremental, it would be like, your flight's been delayed 45 minutes. And I'm like, oh, that's manageable. And then, like, half an hour later, your flight's been delayed another hour. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I guess I can get, like, a snack. So that was fun. And also, it was just, like, a more uncomfortable, smaller, shittier terminal than I'm used to. So there was, like, nowhere to go and nothing to eat. And so that's my... Also, this was, like, half an hour after they'd thrown out my OSP water bottle because it had like 2 inches of water in it. And I was like, you can empty it. I do not care. And they were like, if you want to keep the bottle, you're going to have to go through security again. And I'm like, how about go fuck yourself? Just throw out the bottle. Whatever. And they were like, okay, I guess we'll throw out the bottle. I'm like, yeah, fucking do that. Keeping our country safe. So... yeah, LaGuardia is on my shit list for 2 separate reasons. But to those of you asking if I have, like, airports with positive associations, I really liked the Boston airport the last time I was in it.
Logan's good?
I don't remember which one, though.
There's only one.
I think it's Logan, yeah. 'Cause...
There's only one.
Okay, never mind. Sorry. How silly of me. But yeah, Boston, Logan is just, it's so pretty. And, like, the part I was in had these massive, like, floor-to-ceiling 50-foot glass windows and just, like... this whole open seating area with just tons of food options, and I was just sitting with like this great view out the window at the sky, and I was like, this is nice. And that's like the circumstance where you don't even mind if your flight is a little bit delayed because it's like, I get to sit here more. That's pleasant. So yeah, Boston Logan, you're good. LaGuardia, go fuck yourself.
My least favorite airport is the Atlanta airport. It's terrible. Sorry if any of you live near Atlanta. I've only had to fly through it twice. And I hated it both times.
Yeah, not fun.
Security is a nightmare.
Yeah, really bad there.
And, like, we were flying, and we got on the plane, and they were like, congratulations to those of you who made it there, because about 40% of the flight just didn't make it through security. And we're like, what?
That's an acceptable number?
Where did they go instead?
No, they were just still in the line for security, and they had been for, like, 2 hours.
Holy shit.
Yeah, they went in, this was for a fencing tournament, they went in, like... not even 15 minutes after we did, and they were like 2 hours later.
Yeah, like literally, we were the last people. So there was 2 groups. We were the last people from the first group because we gave the boarding passes to the like 7 people in the second group. And they were like, there was no line to like check in your bags. They're like, we're just gonna go check in our bags, and then we'll get in line right behind you. It took them an extra hour and a half from the time we got through security to get through security. Like the line got that big during that time. So just a ton of people just did not make their flight. And also, I think it was Santa Barbara in California was really, it might have not been Santa Barbara, but I think it was. It was like a very small airport. They were like, we were flying, and it was like a stupidly early flight, so I had like some pumpkin bread like wrapped up in a packaging. Oh, Charles DeGaulle is awesome.
Okay, let me say some shit. Okay, yes, sorry, you go first.
Sorry, this was just funny. They were just like, we're going through, and they're like, looking at this thing. And I realized it's my pumpkin bread, and because I get pulled a lot. I travel with like EpiPens and a lot of medication, so like it's not unreasonable for me to get like pulled over because they see something sharp and they're like, "What, do you have that sharp in there?" I'm like, 3 EpiPens. They're like, "Oh, okay."
Well, now I just feel like a jerk.
But they're just looking at this pumpkin bread, and they call over like 3 other people. I kid you not, it's a tiny piece of pumpkin bread, and one of them's like, "How do we tell if it's verified food?" And I'm like, what? This is a problem? They passed it through the scanner 3 times, and finally they call over a manager, and he's like, just give the girl her pumpkin bread. I guess because it wasn't like, it didn't have like a store brand label. Like it was from a bakery. Like it was sealed, but it was just like, you know, wrapped. I guess they were just like, I don't know what this is. I'm like, it's pumpkin bread. It says pumpkin bread on it. I swear.
The other thing that frustrates me often is that they kind of keep changing what you do and don't have to do. Like the first time I went through airport security, because also I think they're trained to be rude, because if they put you at ease, what if you do terroristy things? Because I've never met like an airport person who was just like polite by default.
I have, but
Really?
I travel a lot.
Okay. Because in my, like, whenever you're going through the security line, they're like, take off the belt. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Because, like, the first time I'd flown in a while, I was like, I don't know, like 14, and clearly very nervous about it. And they were like, take off the belt. I was like, oh, sorry. And, like, the necklace, too. I was like, oh, okay. And they were like, it's all right. Don't worry too much about it. And I was like, oh, so you were just fucking with me? Cool. But then, like, a later time, I was like, oh, I should take off my belt. And they're like, no, don't do that. And I was like, what? Okay.
I think
cool.
it sometimes depends on the airport and what security scanners they have.
It depends on what city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, that's the thing that frustrates me. It's like, if I can get this down to a science, maybe I'll stop stressing about it. But then they yell at me every time anyway, so.
So
Blue, go ahead.
Let's take a trip across the Atlantic.
Oh, are you not going to sell your Charles de Gaulle story?
That's where I'm going.
Okay.
That's where France is.
I don't know. I'm tired. I'm working while we're doing this.
I'm sorry, darling.
I have a meeting in 30
sorry.
minutes that I'm prepping for.
I'm sorry. So, Charles de Gaulle, not only does he suck in real life, but the airport's a pain in the ass, too. Basically, the most illustrative example I can give of why I really don't thank you for the hat. Of
Is
why
it a
I
cool
don't,
hat?
It's a dumb hat in the way that is helpful to
Okay.
us.
Ooh.
It's pretty dumb.
That's a bucket.
That's pretty dumb. That's fully someone uses that for fruit. Yeah.
I think you should wear that for a bit.
That for one for a bit? Okay.
Yeah.
But I
Bucket
had...
versus bell, sound
yeah.
off in the comments.
So my dad and I were going somewhere. My dad and I were going somewhere.
I fell asleep watching YouTube last night.
We were going to a place in northwest France, Britannia, the Celtic-y part of France historically, but now is just very like pretty and lots of cool views of the Atlantic and has great crepes and pastries. But we were going there. We had to fly in from America to this part of northwest France, and we had to transfer from one terminal to another in Charles de Gaulle. We had a 3-hour layover with which to transfer between terminals in Charles de Gaulle Airport, and we barely made it. Now,
Wow.
2 weeks later, we flew back. The problem is that my dad had inadvertently booked us from our Brittany to Paris trip flying in from Orly, which is the other airport in Paris, which is infinitely better in every way. We only had 3 hours to get from Orly to a certain terminal, Charles de Gaulle. And we got there faster than going from one terminal to the other in Charles de Gaulle across the entirety of Paris.
Wow.
God, how do you design an airport that badly? Anyway, that's my Paris opinions. Orly, Charles de Gaulle, sign off in the comments.
Don't set up.
See, I think I think that just like
Going.
planes are amazing. Objectively speaking, it is really good that we have that travel option to just get from point A to point B very fast. But like, my worst train experience ever is leagues better than my worst plane experience
mine's not.
ever. Oh no.
So, it's another fencing story. We had a fencing trip in Pennsylvania, which should be fine. We drove down, we were going to drive back. The only problem is, for some reason, they decided that instead of driving back after the tournament, we would wait till the next day. Now, the next day was Monday. If you've ever tried driving from Philadelphia to Boston on a Monday, it's going to take you like 9 hours. And I had an 8 a.m. class that I couldn't miss because I was in grad school. So I had to find another way to get back. Thankfully, my parents lived vaguely in that area. They were able to drive, pick me up, and drop me off at the Philly train station, which would have been fine, except for it was raining that day. And my train was I think it was the 8 p.m. train. Sounds fine. It will get us into Boston at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. I can take an Uber. It's no problem. Except for it gets delayed due to rain. And then delayed again. And then delayed again. I think we finally left at about midnight. So we finally leave at about midnight. I get on the train. No one's on the train because I guess no one wanted to take the Sunday night at 8 p.m. train, and even more so did not want to take the train at 12 p.m. So I'm so I like take 2 seats. I'm sleeping. There's like plenty of empty seats open, at least when I get on the train. Sometime around, I think it's New Haven, which if you've ever taken the Northeast Corridor train is the worst place to take a train through because it's just terrible. This couple gets on, and I guess they wanted to sit in the middle of this carriage specifically because this is like, it's like right near where the food car is, which is closed anyway because it's free in the morning at this point. And they're just standing there going, well, why are there so many people taking 2 seats next to each other? And like the conductor's like, ma'am, there's plenty of cars that are open with 2 seats. She's like, well, they only paid for 1 seat, so they should only get 1 seat. And normally I'm down for that. Like, if it is crowded, you should not be taking up multiple seats on a train. Like, let people sit next to each other. But, like, it's not crowded. There are, like, carriages with nobody in them. And she's just, like, shouting, like, I want to sit next to my husband. And this one guy is like, ma'am, like, I'm only taking up 1 seat. They're only taking up 1 seat. You and your husband can sit across the aisle from each other. They're like, we need to sit together. And she's holding up the train at this point because, like, they're, like, still kind of in the doorway.
Oh my
so
god.
The door can't close. So the train is still
I think that's the part where you Sparta kick.
And this guy is like, do you want me to move to go sit next to them? She's like, you should have already been over there. And I'm like, oh my god. It is 3 a.m. Like, I understand that this lady probably was planning on getting on this train at, like, 11 p.m. and has also been waiting all this time. But, like, we're all tired. We're all frustrated. And, like, the train people are, like, telling her, like, ma'am, this whole carriage behind you is open. You can go sit there in, like, 5 different seats and no one will care. And she's just, like, shouting. And I'm like, good lord. So I finally arrive in Boston the next morning at, like, I think I got there at, like, 6:45, like, 7 a.m. I get to my dorm. Because at this point, the tea is running, so I just take the tea. Yep. Get to my dorm, drop my stuff, go to class, roll up, and my friend looks at me, and he's like, you know this class doesn't matter, right? I'm like, what? He's like, I could have just taken notes for you. Like, they don't take attendance. I'm like, what? He's like, why are you here? And I start crying. Like, I don't know!
God!
I don't know why I'm here.
That's such a Shaggy Dog story. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It was just like in hindsight, it was, like, so humorous. I'm like, that's such, like, a grad school thing to do, to, like, take an overnight train to get back for a class that doesn't matter in the end.
Yeah.
But, like, it was just, like, I was just like, I don't know why I'm here. It turns out, like, they got delayed, and, like, it took them a long time to get back anyway, so I would have actually missed my second class, which did matter, so it worked out in the end. But I was just like, I don't know what's going on. I'm so tired. Slept on a train, and this woman woke me up screaming.
Oh god.
Cyan unsheathes her saber and fucking skewers this woman on the Acela.
Wasn't even the Acela, it was
Northeast
a slow one.
Regional. Sorry, dear.
Couldn't afford the Acela. It's grad school.
Acela doesn't run at 3 a.m.
My worst train experience was tempered somewhat. It had the experience of the decency of humanity in places, but it was circumstantially very bad. I've talked about this a couple times before. Basically, like a year or two back, when that crazy cold winter happened, I was in New York and I needed to get to Chicago. And I think I'd flown in, but I'd scheduled the train like from New York to Chicago. And I got a call at like 10 p.m. my last night in New York that was like, this is your automated alert from Amtrak that your train has been canceled and we will not be replacing it. Would you like to speak to a representative? And I was like, fucking yes, please. So I spent 30 minutes on hold listening to the funky fresh hits of the 60s, and right when they hit a song that I was actually interested in, they finally connected me to somebody.
I feel like that.
And they were like, yeah, listen, it's so cold that the tracks aren't working, so we can't like send you home tomorrow, but we can put you on the Lakeshore Limited on like the next day. And I was like, yes, please, let's do that. And they were like, cool, heck yeah. So that was set, and then I went down to the desk. I was in like my pajamas, and I was like, hey, listen, my train home canceled. Can I book another night in my same room? And they were like, sure, because first of all, New York is like bristling with hotels. They weren't exactly expecting like a crazy influx. And also, if no one's leaving, no one's coming in. Like, they were like, no, we need your room. Somebody's whatever. So that was good. And then the next day, it was even colder, and I was like, I get the feeling it's possible my train's gonna be canceled again. So as I'm like taking the day slow, visiting people I didn't get the chance to visit, I get another call, and Amtrak is like, "We're canceling your train again." Who knew? Would you like to speak to? It's like, yes, fucking. So that time I'm only on hold for like 3 minutes, and they put me through to somebody, and yeah, and that person is like, yeah, strangely, the Lakeshore Limited for the next day is completely full up, but I can put you on the Cardinal line. Now, for those of you who are not aware, the Lakeshore Limited is a straight shot between New York and Chicago, and it also branches off to Boston.
It
They
still
like
takes
split
like
off.
18 hours, right?
It's 19 hours actually, but yes, it's a. But the thing is, it's like it's nice. It's pretty. It's got nice views. You're up against like the Canadian border for some of it, so it's pretty. And you know, you even if you're in coach, you can get like a good night's sleep, and then you get in. It's great. The Cardinal line is more of a U shape, and it goes through a whole bunch of more like southerly states, and then kind of curves back up. And because it's not a straight line, it takes 28 hours. But I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I just want to get home, okay? Whatever. Let's do it. So I get on the Cardinal line, and it's not like super full, but they tell us like, listen, this thing is crazy booked because like it's got 3 days worth of people trying to take it. Nobody would be willingly taking the Cardinal line otherwise. We know this, but you're gonna need to like double up. And so the car I'm in is initially kind of empty. It's like me and like this like very talkative old lady and like this one creepy guy. This is important for later, I swear, because the conductor, like when we're making our like fourth stop, is like, okay, you guys are gonna need to like start sitting next to each other so that people can like come in. And creepy guy is like, oh heck yeah, and like I was like, oh shit. And the old lady silently gets up and sits next to me, and I was like, oh okay. And then we spent like the rest of the 28 hours with her like telling me about her great grandkids. It was very sweet. So that was nice. That was like the only nice part of that trip because it was 28 hours. It was very crowded. Because I was sitting like right next to a person, I didn't want to like pull out my laptop and start like writing anything because I knew she was gonna be like, ooh, tell me about that thing. And I'm like, how do I explain YouTube and my channel to this person? Let's not. And like the train was full of like smokers, and every time we stopped, someone would go between the cars and smoke, so it just smelled bad the whole time. And there was this one guy with a really bad smoker's cough who would like constantly flag down the conductor lady and be like, excuse me, when's the next smoking stop? And she's like, not for another few hours, sir, because it's 3 a.m. It was just bad. And then when I finally got into Chicago, I was like, maybe it's gonna be a while before I take another train. So
like,
but even then it's like I didn't need to like, yeah, exactly. And even then it's like I didn't need to run around. Like it didn't feel great. I was still, you know, kind of stressing because like this place is really crowded, but you know, it's still better than my worst plane experience. So for me, trains are my boys. Trains are my boys.
I've had 35-minute transfers through Newark Airport where I've had to switch from one terminal to the other that I found less stressful than that train ride. Mostly because like I was like, I didn't know like when I was gonna get back, and it's like I didn't really have another option. Like I couldn't get from Philly to anywhere else at like 11 p.m. by myself. So I'm like, this is not great. Although I will say my best plane experience was I was flying from, it was either from Rome or Greece. Both were like direct flights. I was flying to the U.S. Through New York. Whichever one it was, I was sitting next to this guy who did not speak any English, which is fine. Which he had an American passport. I think he like spoke Lebanese, which was interesting, which I do not speak. And he was sitting next to me. He was like polite enough, you know. First, you know, he's taking the armrest, and I'm just like, hey, like, you know, kind of like putting my arm, like, I need armrest too. And then like we kind of worked out, like, I'd take the front of the armrest, he'd take the back. It worked out nicely. But nice. It was a long flight. It was like probably like 11 hours.
Yeah, this would have been Athens.
It was Athens.
Yeah, so
okay.
it would have been like 10, 11.
Yeah. Okay. So it was like 11 hours. It was fine. So finally, you're getting close to landing, and they hand out the like cards, like the cards when you get back, when you're coming back to the U.S., where you have to fill out like what you've got, like where you're going, where you're coming from, like if you're a U.S. citizen or not. And this guy like is clearly very confused, and being dumb and small, I thought he needed a pen, so I offered him my pen, and he was trying to ask me questions. But the problem is he didn't really speak English. I did not speak his language. He spoke, I think he spoke some Spanish, which was interesting, but I don't speak Spanish, but I do speak French. So we kind of like telephone. I think I finally got, he was really confused by it because they're asking like, what's the value of things you're bringing into the country? And he's like, oh, I'm not bringing any money in Spanish, which I can understand. And I'm like, not money, like gifts. He's like, gifts aren't money. I'm like, I know. Thankfully, when we got off the plane, I was able to like direct him to someone who was able to help him, like a proper translator. So that worked out nicely. But I was just like, I don't know what to do. This guy's really nice. I really want to help him. But like none of the languages that I know, like any, and like I even knew like a little bit of Greek at the time, but like, and I had like a Greek translator on my phone, so like that didn't require Wi-Fi, so I could use that. But he also didn't speak Greek, so I don't know who this man was. He was great, like American passport, didn't speak English, kind of spoke Spanish, spoke Lebanese, didn't speak Greek, but was flying from Greece. He was going to visit his son. We got that much out of him, but I'm like, you're a good man. I really hope he got into the country all right. I really hope like no one gave him any trouble because he was super nice, but I was just like playing telephone. I'm like, ah!
Yeah. No, that's a unique kind of like, I almost understand you and I'm invested in understanding you, but I don't quite know what's happening.
Yeah, because he was like, oh, he asked like, do you speak Spanish? And I'm like, no, I don't. I should, but I don't. I've
that's
tried learning
mood.
Spanish. I'm just, my mouth cannot make those, like, they can't make the right shapes, which is really frustrating because it's a really cool language and I really wish I could speak it.
Yeah, I just suck at learning languages in general. It's like my mind is a sieve and the language is like water. But yeah, I like pick up enough that I can understand random snippets of it, and it's like, it sounds more impressive when you say it like, yeah, I can understand about 60 to 70% of that language because 60 to 70% of a spoken language is like pronouns and particles and that one was a verb. So, you know, it's yeah, not very helpful.
That's why I like to joke that my favorite, the most useful word that I learned in Italian class was questo, because I can just be like, this thing over here, questo, and then it's just like half of all the sentences that I need to say in a pinch when I'm out somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Just everything is questo.
The best sentence I ever learned to sign was, do your best to mimic the sign they just did. Sign, fingerspell, what? More or less.
Oh.
It's not really easy to translate to English, but pretty much just being like, hey, that sign you just did, can you spell it for me? It's been super useful in class all the time, because I'm in a class that's currently like a split level class due to the fact that the level above mine didn't have enough enrollment. So there's some people who have taken this class before, and like 3 of us who haven't. So like the majority of the class knows all these signs, and then like the rest of us just don't. So we had to like ask the instructor like to occasionally like slow down and like we'll be like, hey, like this sign, what is it? Because I had the same instructor for the last 2 levels, and she would sign something one way and he signs it differently. So I'll just be like what are you signing? He's like, oh, it's, and then spell it. I'm like, oh, okay, like I know this way. And he's like, yeah, they're the same. I'm like, okay, I just didn't know that. Like, it's fun. He's really nice, but I'm just like, slow down, please. Indigo says the worst is when you don't know a very specific character or word in Mandarin. Like, I can tell you everything except for the one word that I need to tell you right now. Languages. Frickin' battle.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this quest is this guy next to us, Sensei Ishikawa, taught this girl to be an archer, and then she defected to the Mongols. So he's like, oh no, I'm such a bad teacher, my student, yada yada yada. But then he continues to be a really bad teacher for Jin, and is like always a dick. And it's like, yeah, I wonder why your student betrayed you. Maybe it's because you kind of suck. Do we need to? Oh, I need to go over there.
I'm going to have to leave in 15 minutes.
No. Curse real jobs.
Maybe
I know,
we'll,
right? It's super annoying having a real job.
If we feel like we have a lot of momentum, we can keep going. But otherwise, we
You
might
can keep going.
feel like calling the stream.
Yeah.
I don't know, Red.
I'll just
How
move
much
it down.
energy do you feel like you've got?
Hey, I'm good to go for a while now. I've got like a bowl of popcorn and some tea.
Ooh, I want to make popcorn. I'm not gonna make popcorn. We have cookies, but like popcorn. Do you ever do that thing where you make like, I don't, it's because like we never have microwave popcorn, mostly because Blue does not eat popcorn due to some experiences in the past with popcorn.
Due to childhood trauma.
Okay.
Blue's mom, if you're out there.
My mom would get popcorn every time we went to a movie, but she would drown it in like really crappy movie theater butter, and I could never get the taste out of my mouth for like years and years and years. So that's why I kind of have like popcorn. There we go.
See, popcorn with real butter is the shit, though.
Yes. You like when I'll make sometimes popcorn with like rosemary and olive oil, and you like that sometimes.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's really fun. But so we never have like bags of popcorn because I mean I will eat an entire bag of popcorn on my own, but I shouldn't eat an entire bag of popcorn on my own.
Yeah.
Most of like undergrad and grad school that like I would sometimes just be like, I'm having popcorn for dinner today. It's like, you need to not do that, Saya. So now we just have the kernels, but we don't have like a air popper or anything like that, and like I don't always want to like pull out a pan. So like what I learned several years back is that you can just take like a brown lunch bag and put the kernels in it and like wet the outside and then just microwave it like you would microwave a bag of popcorn, and then you have like air pop popcorn but in the microwave with a brown paper bag, which is really, really fun.
I've been experimenting with ways to do that that don't involve using the bag, because that way I don't need to like run out of bags.
That's fair.
It's a work in progress, but
I know
the main problem I keep running into.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
I was just gonna say, I know they make like microwave popper things, but like,
Yeah. The thing I keep running into is that once it pops up to a certain level, even if there's unpopped kernels, if it basically like fills the bag to the point where the central point doesn't move in relation to like the microwave beams, then it turns into this like fused little charcoal nugget right in the middle of the bag. So yeah, that's not good.
You must be making a lot more popcorn than I do, because I have not yet run into that problem.
Well, it's like when you're making popcorn in a pan, like you can put in a lot of kernels. But when you're making it in a microwave in a bag, like especially a smallish microwave like the one I have, it's like less than a single handful of kernels. Like you can't even coat the bottom of the bag, or it'll just pop too much and then it'll like fill the bag or tip over or get stuck. It's a mess. So
I usually do like 1 to 2 tablespoons of kernels.
Yeah, it's
not very
because I'm used to making it in the pan. I'm used to like bigger quantities of kernels.
Where it's like cover the bottom of the pan, and that's how much popcorn you're gonna make today.
Exactly. But you can't do that with the bag. So it's it's a work in progress. It's a learning experience to get it balanced.
I was just watching this cutscene between Jin and Sensei Ishikawa, and I'm thinking about all the other tropes of like bad teachers in media, where sometimes it's like they're a bad teacher but they really like make the students better. It's like, no, there's no excuse for being an asshole even if you're good at teaching people things, because that's not what teaching is about. You don't get to like pretend like you're a great teacher when all you are is just a dick with results. That's not no. I hate that.
Like well, the interesting thing is there actually is a very specific trope that's kind of like that. It's the mean old kung fu master trope, basically. And usually the way that works, when it does work, is that, oh, you thought your teacher was being a dick, but they were actually training you like with crazy muscle memory, so you're really good at this thing now. And the thing is, in my opinion, the only saving grace of this teacher is when it also turns out that they like deeply care about the well-being of their students, and they're only doing this because like they need, or the student needs to know how to do this thing that's really hard to learn, so they instill it in them through this mean way of teaching. But they actually do like and care about them and respect their progress. Like, that's the only version I like. I'm getting the feeling that Sensei Ishikawa is not that kind of mean old kung fu master.
Yeah, he just kind of sucks.
Yeah, see, that's the problem.
Hot take
like,
with Blue. It's not that hot of a take. He's pretty bad.
I've had hotter takes this week.
What was the hot take you said last night? It was like...
Is it about Doctor Who?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the spicy take.
My hot Doctor Who take is that Doctor Who became so popular in part because it was a comfort to the people of Britain for the fact that they don't have an empire anymore. Because it's like, oh, now your media is just about exploring space, and you still get the satisfaction of being able to go anywhere and do whatever you want and play hero. But instead of, like, in Africa, it's in space on television. And there's no consequences. That's my hot take.
I still enjoy Doctor Who, not gonna lie.
Oh, there's no reason that it's not very enjoyable, but, you know, my whole thing is like
Well-
part of the reason that it's popular. Well,
What season we talking about?
okay, but, like, the point of the hot take being, like, part of its appeal was in filling that now, like, void of, like, ah, yes, like, our very, you know, go out and see and do and be great feeling. Now that we can't do it in the real world, let's go do it in space. That's my hot Doctor Who take. Feel free to not tweet at me about it.
Yeah, it's interesting because
Wait,
the
Orange is
base
here?
appeal of that show is a little weird.
Someone said Orange is in the chat.
Yes, one of the Green's brother, Orange. Hello, Orange.
And
But
you guys
yeah,
said you might want to scoot a little closer to the mic.
Oh, me? Okay, I was looking
yeah.
too far at the
You were
screen.
kind of like skitching
Yeah.
left. Well, I can actually move this
Okay, yeah,
towards you
that'll
because
work.
I'm gonna leave.
Ah, sweet mic noises. Moving my mic around ASMR.
ASMR, but it's just Cyan eating snacks in the backdrop.
Again, everything comes back to that one time I saw a video for ASMR professional banking sounds. I'm like, how is this a thing?
Oh god, ASMR is weird. But yeah, the Doctor Who thing. I've been recently and very slowly getting into H-Bomber Guy's videos. Because I saw the one about Ruby and I was like, wait, this is a really fun kind of long-form video essay format. I wonder what else he's made. So I watched his video called Sherlock is Garbage and Here's Why, which was, chef's kiss. But it talks a lot about Stephen Moffat overall, including how when he was directing Doctor Who, it had all the same problems that Sherlock did on a fundamental directorial level of, we're gonna make this all about the main character and not about how they do episodic adventures in new interesting settings with new characters. And this is something I've been complaining about for years, so it was really nice hearing it from somebody else.
Yeah.
But anyway, Moffat's not doing Doctor Who anymore, and it seems like it's gotten pretty good, although I haven't really heard that much about it recently, so I don't know. Yeah.
My computer just told me that Windows is not genuine. This is my work computer.
I'm sorry, what?
Okay.
Sorry, I'm in the remote desktop, which doesn't have Windows access anymure. Okay, I just panicked for a second. I'm like,
boy, yeah.
I'm like, no?
Goza.
Ay.
Anyway. Good stuff.
Also, I missed this. It was from about 25 minutes ago, but one of my friends would like to point out England's airport, though, when we flew through England, to which I will reply, you're probably right. I had not slept at all when we were in England's airport, so I have no... Okay.
Was it Heathrow or one of the other two? Probably Heathrow.
I don't know. All I know is that, so we were flying, I have to say this quick because I'm gonna go, but, so we were on a trip sophomore year of high school. We were flying to Salzburg via Germany. But the problem is they canceled a flight that a bunch of us were on, and by canceled I mean they moved it to like 7 hours later after our connecting flight was. So they were able to take like a bunch of people and put them on the other 3 flights, but for a small group of us, we had to go, we missed like the first day they were in Salzburg. They were doing like the Sound of Music tour, which I'm sure was really cool, but they took the rest of us and they put us on a flight. Oh, it was Heathrow. Thank you. They took the rest of us and put us on what they called the LLL flight, or a long layover in London, where we flew into London. We left at like 10-something p.m., flew to London, and then we like just bopped around. They took us to like this small town area where we just got to like go to like some cafes and stuff. We saw like a really cute dog. Like that's my main memory of it. Got to see people driving on the other side of the road. Like we weren't really in like London, but we're near London, like in one of the suburbs, for just like 6 hours before going back to the airport and flying to Salzburg, where we finally arrived at like midnight their time. But the thing is, I did not sleep well on planes at this point. I've gotten better, but at this point I couldn't sleep on planes at all, so I hadn't slept. So we had gone to school that morning early to like check all of our bags because they were going to bring our bags to the airport. So we went to school early to check out our bags. So I was at school at like 5:30 a.m. Was at school until we flew out at like 10:30 p.m. from the airport. Was in London and then finally arrived at like midnight in Salzburg, their time, and I had not slept. So I have very little memory of that whole portion of the trip, but I'm sure there was something to do with London's airport. I just unfortunately don't remember what it was. Oh, right, never mind, I do remember this. Thank you. We saw Windsor Castle. There was one girl who had scissors and couldn't understand why they weren't allowed through because, and I quote, they said blades less than 6 inches were allowed and mine are only 7.5.
What?
And also the nurse had, and I quote, too many medications because being underage children, we weren't allowed to bring our own medications, so she had everyone's medications in her bag. She also was the only person that got pickpocketed while we were in Europe, but she didn't lose any of her meds, so it was fine. And we saw Windsor Castle, which was pretty neat. That's apparently what we did. Again, this was like 7 years ago, and my memory is so foggy. And now I'm going to go. Goodbye, friends. I'm going to go do a conference call with my boss.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Have fun
Bye.
with real job.
Yeah. Not just my bullshit. Do you need
Please,
me?
it's our bullshit.
There we go. Oh, and can I have my water bottle?
Yeah. There you go. Have fun. Oh, Cleo, are you up from your nap?
I'm only moving like 20 feet away.
No, Cleo just like looked up, like, is there movement? No? Okay, going back to sleep.
Travel.
Enemies with a half bow. I want to kill enemies with a half bow. I can do that.
So, as I recall, the main attempt in this episode was to find some cool armor.
Yeah, we did that.
What's going on right now? Oh, we did? Never mind.
Yeah.
So, what's the situation right now?
Currently we are in this part of the map just liberating this base. We did a quest for the sensei guy to go track down his like evil student or whatever. I never know what the plot is when we're playing on stream.
Great.
He's over here now. And then we're just doing this little this settlement. But after that we can go maybe exploring some other part of the map or see what else is cool, because here was kind of like foresty. Over here is all like marshy and beat up. So right now we're just trying to fix this place up, and by fix up I mean kill the baddies.
Is there any other kind of fixing up?
Oh my god!
From a certain point of
denied my
view,
assassination.
aren't we
I
all
pressed the
killing
button. He's
baddies?
like, no, I'm gonna stab you instead.
Ha!
Not fair. Very not fair.
Whew. Oh, all right. Well, this is fun.
The stream of
Gosh,
lots of travel
gears.
opinions.
I mean, it always feels so counterintuitive to me when it's like, we're setting up a vacation. The travel is going to be immensely stressful. And it's like, then in what sense is this a vacation? If
Yeah.
you're not, like, having a good time. I don't know.
There is a new trend, and I hate to say the word trend, but there's a new habit taking form in travel planning, where instead of like going to a lot of places and doing a lot of things.
Hold on. Sorry, just
What's
a sec. Apparently you're very quiet and
Oh.
need to scoot closer to the mic.
I can scoot closer to the mic. There we go. Here, let's hold on. Let's do this. Yeah, cool.
Mic movement ASMR.
A new trend in travel where instead of can I just go kill this guy? Yes. Instead of going and like bopping around to a bunch of different places, you go to one place that's not very like popular or in the way of anything, and just chill out there for like a few weeks or a month, because you're working from home anyway. Might as well work from home in a nice place. So
Yeah.
like cozy cabins, in the hills, or nice places by the beach. are suddenly getting, you know, more, and not like inundated, but like are getting more bookings among people who are just coming for longer periods of time to just stay there for a while and, you know, do their work and just kind of exist and enjoy the space, which is neat because I feel like the way of travel of like go to a million different things, you know, see so many different places and just be busy, busy, busy is not always the most relaxing, even if it is exciting. So I think it's a cool new way to go about travel, and it's something that I very much enjoy doing. I think one of my favorite trips ever was like a year ago when I went to Florence and was just in one place for a week. It was great.
Yep. Yeah, I mean that's the whole point, and I feel like a lot of people lose sight of that when it's like, oh, I only have like 6 vacation days all year. I gotta make the most of it. And it's like, buddy, my dude, if you're stressing about the vacation, then it's not gonna be fun or relaxing.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like you feel bad during it, and then you feel bad after that you didn't have a good time. And that's just, you know, if that's the case, why are you even doing it?
Yeah. It's tough in part because it's like, well, I'm here, so I wanna, you know, make the most of it, make it count. It seems almost wasteful to have, you know, gone all the way to a place and then, you know, oh, there was this really cool thing, you know, one town over, but I was feeling so I didn't go. And then that's the kind of thing that, you know, in the planning stage, it's like, of course I want to go do that thing. But then when you're there, it's like, oh, wait, no, this isn't what I wanted.
Yeah.
So it's tough. It requires restraint and balance. I think you really need to go into a trip knowing what you're going to do and what you're going to get out of it. So if you go into a trip expecting to just like go and see and do, then make sure that you show up rested, as opposed to the kind of trips where you're not really going to a lot of places, not really doing a lot, where like come expecting to, you know, leave.
Sorry,
refreshed.
real quick. Apparently you're still quiet.
I'm still quiet?
Maybe
Okay, well let me bump my settings here.
Yeah, the audio balance is probably, because apparently I'm kind of loud.
Let's see, which one am I? And this one, okay. There we go. Let's try that.
Well, hopefully that's better. We'll find out in a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I
like
don't know. I mean,
for my like Italy sabbatical, my original plan was, you know, fly into Venice, spend like a weekend there, take a train over to Verona, spend like 4 or 5 days there, go down into sort of the middle of the country and see like Ravenna because it has all the cool like Byzantine mosaics from, you know, Justinian's era, and go to Bologna and then go down to Florence and go check out Siena and go check out Assisi, and I'm realizing like, oh no, that's not gonna work.
yeah, that's really the issue, isn't it? Like, because I feel like when you're not there, hypothetically thinking about what you want to do is like, oh, amazing, and then you go there and you're like, I'm tired and I just like being here, and I think that's the thing, like, you don't need to push yourself. It's a successful vacation if you had a good time. So like, even if that just means like I hung out in this nice hotel and I ate good food and I saw some pretty sights, it's like, that's fine, man. Like, you're not vacationing worse than that guy who's like hopping from thing to thing or whatever.
Yeah, so I'm
yeah,
reassessing my my travel plans. I still basically need to show up in Venice and leave in Florence, but I might skip some steps.
Yeah, I'm just remembering, when I was a kid, we took a lot of road trips, and for various reasons, we ended up passing through Niagara Falls pretty much every year. Niagara Falls is very, very pretty, and that's basically it. Once you've seen it a few times, it's like, yeah, waterfall's still there. Okay, anyway. And you know, sometimes you feel a little bad, but it's like, you know, you look at it and you're like, wow, that sure is a big hole in the ground with water pouring over it. Nifty. And then the rest of it is like, I mean, like, you can go right up to the edge. Like, they have fencing and stuff, and you can just look down, and they've got a boat called the Maid of the Mists that goes in the waterfall basin and lets you look up at the waterfall, and they've got these like stairs that go down next to the waterfall, and it looks really pretty. It is very pretty. But once you've done those things, it's like, yeah, looks the same as it did last time. All right. And I always kind of wonder, like, am I missing something? Is there like some enlightened form of vacationing that I don't have that where I'd be able to look at this and like feel something. But it's like, no, man, it's just a big thing. It's a big, pretty thing, and you've seen it a bunch of times before.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, if you live next to the Met, you can go to the Met every day, but by like the 7th trip, you'll have basically seen everything. And then it's like, maybe I could go look at the swords again, or that one sculpture, you know, the one.
Yeah.
And it's
No,
like,
it's always hard to, like, you know, travel or be an explorer in the place where you are, because those things are standard. And usually when you think of travel, it's like you try to go to places that you don't normally go to see and do and learn things that you wouldn't normally. So it's about, you know, broadening your perspective and stuff like that. That's what Rick Steves always says: the best travel souvenir is a broader perspective. So it can feel like you need to like have this big, you know, moment of like awe-filled, you know, realization of this, you know, thing, but that is characteristic of some travel experiences, but not all of them. So sometimes, like, you go and see a really cool art piece and it's like, oh my god, this is amazing, and then most of the other stuff won't necessarily resonate with you in the same way. So you can't go into a travel scenario expecting every single thing to be really great. So for me, like, sometimes I go see some museums and it's like, here's this really famous painting, doesn't really do anything for me. And then there's this other thing that wouldn't really make it into any major guidebooks, but it's like, this is the thing that I really like. So it's about finding what's, you know, what really matters to you in a way. And after a certain point, you know, seeing the same thing multiple times makes it difficult to have the same kind of like, oh, this is a new cool thing. So if you see Niagara Falls like 7 times, you really have to like Niagara Falls to continue getting enjoyment out of it. Like for me, I can go to, you know, Florence and be like, oh my god, look at that big heckin' brick dome. But if it was another place that I didn't like as much, I wouldn't be able to go there every year and still, you know, enjoy it. So, yeah.
I do remember, I've only experienced that, like, oh wow moment, like, a couple times, and I feel like that's pretty normal. I mean, if that were a regular experience, I feel like people would be a lot more starstruck all the time. But one of them was when we went to Yosemite.
Oh yeah.
I remember, I think it was like one day it was kind of foggy, like just foggy enough that like you could really see the depth and the distance in the cliffs. Like, our camp was like at the base of some cliffs, and then there was this big grassy field, and then there were more cliffs like across that field. And I remember at one point when we were getting ready to head out, I just looked out across this field, and then there were these cliffs, and they were very tall, and then like behind it there were misty more cliffs, and then even mistier farther cliffs, and I was just like, wow, that's big. And like, I grew up around skyscrapers. I know what big things are, but you know, it was different. And then we had another one. Actually, it was pretty funny. So we had these 2 supervising teachers on that trip.
Oh yes, that was great.
One of them was our bio teacher, who was this great dude. Loved art. Never told anybody when he was peeling off from the hike to do something else. So, like, at one point, we got to the top of a mountain and realized he was missing, and we're like, oh shit, where is he? And then we got back to camp, and he was just, like, drawing watercolors on a rock, like, oh, hey guys, how's it going? And the other one was, like, a former park ranger and, like, geology teacher. It was a perfect, like, set of people to bring for this trip. It was amazing. And pretty much every time we went somewhere, like, the park ranger would be like, you guys want to climb this big thing? And we'd be like, yeah! And the bio teacher would be like, you guys want to draw this thing? And most people would be like, we're going to go climb the big thing. And then there was one time where we went out to this massive field of wildflowers.
Oh, yes.
Like,
that was the best.
It was just the big, like, as I mentioned, I've grown up in cities my whole life. So basically for me, this was the largest natural field I had ever seen. Like, ever. It was miles wide. There were, like, mountains way over there, and like a pine forest way down there, and a river running through the middle, and we were all just like standing around just staring. And the park ranger was like, hey, there's a mountain a few miles over there, you guys want to climb it? And we were like, no, I think we're good. And then we all just like sat on rocks in the middle of the river drawing stuff.
Yep.
It was like the one time where that natural wonder really overwhelmed the desire to clamber all over stuff. And that's the good shit. Like, that's what you get out of a trip like that is, oh wow, that's amazing. And that's the feeling that I think is worth pursuing. Like, most of the time when I travel places because people I like live there and I want to hang out with them.
Yeah.
But there's also a certain amount of like, no, I want to see this thing and I want to experience this thing and broaden my horizons by proving to my brain that this thing is like a real thing that you can actually do. So yeah, I don't know. Travel's kind of a double-sided thing for me, I think. Because like on the one hand, it's like, listen, if there's nobody I know or like somewhere, why would I go there? But then on the
Yeah.
other side, it's like, maybe I can find the most natural environment ever and just like stare at stuff for 6 hours. You know, it's a lot.
Every once in a while, I find like pictures of various places, and I'm like, hey, Red, here's a picture of like this mountain in Iceland, or oh, Red, here's a picture of this really cool like cathedral and square in Spain.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a whole thing.
Yeah.
There was a period of about a week where both you and like a friend of mine from middle school were in Italy at about the same time, having wildly different vacation experiences and like simultaneously texting me about it. Vacations are fun. I mean, obviously right now this is all kind of like someday.
Yeah.
It's a little hard to make plans, what with the Backstreet Boys reunion tour, wreaking
Yep.
havoc across our lands.
Sorry, I'm focusing on this fight and
Indigo
trying not to
says,
die. The game
no,
got
it's okay.
significantly
I was
harder
just checking the
after we had
comments.
our fight at Castle Canada. There's a bunch of new enemy types and stuff like this. This big gun boy. Yeah,
The Act
keeps
2 level up.
beating me up.
Indigo says, the inverse of whoa big is hiking into the Grand Canyon, realizing you have to hike back out, and then coming to terms with the fact that the uphill is now whoa big.
Oh, that's
Which
funny.
is, that's funny because something similar happened whenever we like hiked up a mountain in Yosemite because I don't know. Oh,
It's okay.
hello, Cyan.
It's okay.
I can just
no,
yeah, no, it's
you're
fine.
good.
It's
You're
fine.
good. She's in the other room.
Right, but like when you climb up a mountain, my legs are not very long. I'm like an average height person, and I'm mostly friends with extremely tall dudes like Blue.
Yeah.
So when we were hiking up the mountain, I was like, oh, is this killing anybody else? And then we get to the top and it'll be like, oh, this is awesome. Now we have to do that all again, but backwards. And those of you who have not hiked up mountains might think that going down would be easier because it's downhill. Strangely, this is not true. Somehow it's more tiring to keep yourself from falling the whole time. So, anyway, it's like a whole thing.
Yeah.
A big part of the reason why I like remember to exercise is because I want to get my endurance up so I can do stuff like that more and like less painfully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing with travel. Obviously, we're going to be in a bit of a bind for a while, but you don't have to go to glitching off the side of the wall there. You don't have to go halfway across the world to see cool stuff. There's a lot of really neat things that are hidden away in places that you wouldn't think, like a cool park around the corner, like 5 minutes from your house that you've never been to, or a fun restaurant that you'd been to once or you heard about and never really thought to go, or a place in your own state, a couple hours away. Cyan and I are taking a little vacation, just in our state, like half an hour drive out from where we normally be, but it's a place we've never gone to before and we think it'll be cool. So we're just gonna go kind of camp out in some hills for a little while. Not like camp, it's gonna be a hotel, but like that's a cool thing. So it's
Camp
like
out
a
in this
little
building.
vacation that we can still take even if we're not really going anywhere far. And I feel like that's the false expectation that people have of vacations is like, oh, you have to go somewhere far away. It's like no, you can still like be in the mindset of travel very close to where you live. And that's something that, not to show where I get my ideas from about travel, Rick Steves had a huge thing about like, I'm still in the travel mindset even though I'm stuck at home because I'm doing things I've never done before and I'm still learning and growing and exploring, even if it's in my hometown of, wherever state of Washington that he lives in. So
Yeah.
cool stuff.
I was gonna say actually, in contrast, you can travel somewhere and not have the travel mindset.
Yes.
And that's not really good either.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. When I was younger, like we mostly took family trips, and family trips are a very different beast than like traveling on your own to places you really want to go for reasons that you want to do. Like, the family trips were fun, but it was like, you know, it's delegation. A lot of the time you're getting taken to some place that you don't necessarily really want to go, but like one of your family members wants to go, or like there's relatives that you have to check in on. You know, there's a lot of stuff like that. And so the first time I like traveled somewhere alone, I was like sort of equal parts, oh man, I can do whatever I want, and really, really anxious about like, what if I get stuck? What if I lose my stuff? What if someone robs me? You know, just all of this stuff. So like the first time I traveled, I basically like went out to visit people and go to places, and then I mostly stayed in my hotel. And the thing is, like, I don't feel bad about that. It was a nice hotel. I had a good time. I got a lot of work done that trip. So, you know, there's no, I don't think there's any wrong way to vacation except by making yourself miserable. And I think that a lot of people forget that you can make yourself miserable by forcing yourself into situations that you're uncomfortable with. And when you're vacationing, there's often this urge to like try everything that is new and unfamiliar. But like, I mean, I think that it's kind of a waste of, you know, potentially an experience if you go somewhere and you don't do any of that. But at the same time, the goal is for you to have fun and broaden your horizons. But have fun is kind of top of the list there.
Yeah.
And if you force yourself to do something that you're pretty sure you won't like for instance, I don't really drink, but like if I go to a city that's like known for its bars, I might feel like, oh, if I don't try this iconic drink, I'll have missed out on an experience. It's like, yeah, but the experience would be drinking something I don't like and then not having a good time afterwards.
Yeah, no,
so,
I'm with you there. I fundamentally don't enjoy the experience of bars. At all.
I mean, like the one time I went to a bar I really liked, it was because I couldn't believe this place was real, because it was physically underground and had like this really beefy lady bouncer who was like covered in tattoos, and I was like, did I just walk into like a Tokyo Drift movie, or what's going on? And I was there with two people I really liked and hadn't seen in a while, and that was the important part. So you know, it's all about what you will enjoy, and obviously to a certain extent you can't know before you try something how much you're gonna like it, but you can often get a feel for it, like, will I like this thing? Maybe. Will this be a transcendent experience?
Yeah.
No way to know. Oh,
Exactly.
hello, Cyan.
Cyan's back. I think that's a
Hello.
really good point, and I think one of the things is that you can really only figure that out over time and with experience, so it's just the thing that you kind of have to try out and do a couple things that you think you'll like, do a couple things that you aren't entirely sure if you'll like, and then try to build out your understanding so that you have a bank of experiences to draw from to figure out, oh, will I actually end up liking this thing? So, you know, travel is scary to start because there's a lot of unknowns, but the more you do it, the more you understand yourself and the more you understand, you know, various places, so it becomes a lot easier to travel with confidence and not worry too much, and be able to more accurately think about, you know, places that you might enjoy and things that you might have fun doing, and things that's like, yeah, no, I don't want to go to this bar on the top of this tall ass building that serves like the 90 billion proof gut punch shot. I don't think that's fun
How
for
did
me.
we get here?
We were talking about travel and how Red
Yeah,
doesn't
it's
like
actually on topic.
to drink.
Well,
Yeah, I
it's
mean-
basically just that when you travel someplace, there's often this pressure on you to like, gotta do these things, and if I don't do these things, I'm wasting my time here. But it's
Yeah.
like, you know, on a certain level, it's like kind of a shame if you go to a cool place and then you stick only with what you're familiar with. But on the other hand, like, you know, don't fling yourself out of your comfort zone and get yourself in trouble or freak out the whole time. So like,
Yeah. You can always
'cause
try
we
again.
were
Yeah.
yeah. And we were discussing the travel mindset, which you can have at home, and the not travel mindset, which you can have no matter where you travel in the world. And that's the one where it's like, oh, this person has gone to this incredibly exotic location and immediately sought out the first familiar fast food place. And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, why are you here? Because some people do travel just to like see cool things that they've only seen in pictures before and then leave. And you know what? I'm not gonna like tourist shame them. I think that tourists have a lot to be ashamed of, but enjoying looking at stuff is not one of them.
Yeah, there's a fundamental difference between tourist and traveler. That's a thing to recognize that I feel like is misunderstood.
Yes, tourist is not to loop all the way back, but tourist and weeb are in similar categories in my mind, where technically speaking they describe a wide array of people, but the derogatory side is really only applied to a specific subcategory of those people. And
The tail area.
I remember, I think I might have mentioned this at one point. When I was in 8th grade, my middle school took us to like a week-long trip to Mexico, and kind of as the culmination of our Spanish language learning, which was really more focused on like the culture of a lot of these countries, which I thought was pretty cool. And on one of the days, we went to Teotihuacan, and we climbed the Pyramid of the Sun. This was when it was still open. The Pyramid of the Moon had already been closed. You could only climb like halfway up because it was starting to deteriorate, but you could climb all the way to the top of the Pyramid of the Sun and look at the pile of rocks on the top, and then look around at the largely flat area of desert around you, and then you could climb back down. And I did not fully understand the appeal, because I was like, well, it's cool that it was built, but I feel like walking on it is not maybe the best way to appreciate that. And also, they're really steep. So they installed these like handrails and like things, like it was like posts with then like ropes between them for you to hold on to so you wouldn't fall. And climbing up one of those with like this big like white tourist in front of you being like, oh, Jeremy, it's so steep. And I'm like, please don't fall, please don't fall, please don't fall. Is only slightly more stressful than climbing back down with that same tourist behind you. Oh, I hope I don't trip and crush this 8th grader.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. It's just, tourism has a very, I'm not going to try and like strictly define my internal way I classify tourist versus traveler, but I feel like tourists, there's a certain surface level to the way they engage with the environments they travel to. Actually, not to circle back to Mexico, but I wrote like a paper about this in college, because we were studying Maya ethnographies, just like Mayan culture and writings about it, and we ended up discussing Cancun, which is of course a very popular spring break destination for a lot of very rich people, and also just a lot of like tourists with cash to burn. Now, the interesting thing is that we'd spent about 6 weeks of this quarter learning about Maya culture and how it's been affected post, conquistadors, and how the living conditions are often very like, it's like, it's stuff that works for the environment. Like, we have dirt floors because that way they drain themselves. But if you install a concrete floor because you're like, oh, these poor savages don't understand that dirt floors are bad, and then you install concrete and it just puddles like crazy, and then that's really unsanitary. So, it's stuff like that. But you're learning about like, oh yeah, and there's no cash economy, and there's a lot of like, it's mostly based on corn, and if the crop fails one year, you are kind of boned and stuff like that. And then after all that, we like read a thing about Cancun, which is like lush, comfortable beds, walls and floors, all the luxuries you could ever. And the thing is, like, after reading about all this stuff, it almost sounds like, wow, that sounds nice. But then there's like the stuff where almost all the people who work in Cancun are like from these tiny, impoverished Mayan villages, who like. By the way, so we'd read an ethnography about what is essentially a shanty town behind Cancun, where all the people who work there live. And if you read like a flyer for Cancun, it tells you about the quaint, authentic Mayan village round the back that they don't advise you to go to. So it's just this interesting case of really seeing like the tourism versus, the actual society, and the commodification of this culture that is ultimately very different than this glitzy, glamorous place they put the tourists up in so they don't get uncomfortable. It's
I think one of the
it's
big
really
difference
scary reading
between
those back to back.
tourist and traveler is how willing are you to be uncomfortable? Because sure, you can get a really nice hotel in most of the places that you would go to, but are you even trying to have an authentic experience? Usually, if you answer yes to the first one, the answer to the second one is no.
Yeah, that's really it. But then again, it's like the authentic experience can be really like draining sometimes,
Yeah, definitely.
And
but that's
it's
a case of like, where are you going? What experience are you fundamentally going for? Because like, if you go to, a place in the Swiss Alps, like the fundamental authentic experience is very different from, a beach town on the coast of Spain. But both of them still have like very glitzy versions of it that aren't, the way that any Swiss or Spanish person would have, you know, lived before the age of hypertourism. So I don't entirely know what point I'm making here, but you know, there are different experiences that you can get in different places, and knowing what a place is going to be like can help you make a decision of what's, you know, right for you, and what kinds of like discomfort you're more willing to put up with, if that makes sense. Because there's some things where it's like, yeah, you know, I really don't think that I'd like, you know, the authentic experience of going to so and so and not really living it up. But you know, I have gotten very comfortable with the authentic experience of living in the middle of nowhere in Greece. So like that's something that I'm chill with. But you know, there are other places where it wouldn't really work as well for me. So I'm making a point. I'm not making it well. So that's that.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that well, not to dip back into my own personal experience, but when we went to Niagara Falls, there are plenty of hotels around there, but there are also a shitload of casinos. Part of it is, I think, like they're native-owned casinos. It's that kind of thing. And the casinos have no windows. So it's like, we built this next to this beautiful natural thing where the only point is the vista, and you're here to gamble. So no windows, bright colors, the buffet is through the casino. Fun fact about that, we actually stayed at one of those hotels because the rooms have beautiful views of the falls. So it was just gorgeous. But, because like, me and Magenta were underage, they had to get somebody to like walk us through the casino to the only food establishment, because they were like,
Gosh.
Maybe when we were designing this place, we should have accounted for the fact that maybe children would stay here with their whatever. So that's a whole thing. And also, fun fact about those casinos, they really try and keep you from going outside. So like most of those buildings are like connected internally. It's like, oh, you want to get ice cream? Don't worry, we've got an ice cream place. You want to get touristy stuff? Don't worry, we've got like a tchotchke shop. But beyond that, the hallways have these like displays of like actual accounts of the the subjugation of the native peoples of this area, and like they're pretty tersely phrased. Like they're clearly there because management put them there, knowing that none of these like gamble happy tourists will ever see them to complain.
Yeah.
It's like a mini museum of just the colonization of the area and how shitty it was. And it's like, oh my god, there's a lot going on here. So, but that's the thing. It's like the tourist-facing face that these places put forward is very different than any of the underpinnings, and that alone is very different than the actual like experience of the location once you take the touristy stuff away. So, it really depends on what experience you want to have.
Yeah. On the subject of casinos, there's a whole thing about the way that Las Vegas is organized. It used to be that all of the casinos were very open and easy. You could cross the street like the way you imagine crossing streets in places where it doesn't take too much effort. And it was easy to... Science back. She had to drop out for another call, but she's back. And you can, you know, go to... a casino, play some rounds, cash out, go to another casino if you're not really feeling the vibe, and just kind of carry on about your day, you know, easily moving between places. But they realized, why would we want people to leave our casino? So they started designing it to be more and more inconvenient to move around in. So now if you actually go to the Las Vegas Strip, you can't cross the street. You have to take one of like several skyways and these little bridges that go over the roads, because they don't want you like moving between casinos that much. Everyone wants to keep you in that ecosystem, rather than give you the option of leaving. So you know, they blast oxygen. There are no clocks, no windows.
They blast oxygen?
Yeah, so that you stay awake.
Energized, actually. It gives you a slight high.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's creepy about this. Like, tourism and traveling are, you know, two words for the same thing, but tourism is a commodity, and people want to sell you stuff.
Yeah.
And travel is, it doesn't quite give you those things that they can hook into you with, where they're like, we promise you the comforts of home, and look, you can see like a mini Statue of Liberty without ever having to leave Vegas. It's like, wow, it's just like the real thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Fun.
Yes, yeah, very fun.
Oh, no. Sorry, I'm still trying to do data analysis on one computer while watching the game. And, it's going well.
The struggle.
Struggle
Check
bus.
the comments real quick.
Yeah, so that's our highly specific thoughts on traveling and tourism. When it becomes applicable to go out far and wide and travel, think about the experience. Ooh, I need to talk to that person. Think about the experience you want and really understand ahead of time what it is that you're planning to do, and make your trip with intentionality, so you're not just going to a place and then, you know, figuring it out. Like, have an idea of what it is that you want to accomplish and what experience you're looking for, and try to, ahead of time, do some research that can help you get what you want. Because if you just want to go see a bunch of things, great. If you want to go to a place that has, you know, really good food, great. If you want to, you know, have a place that has a really nice, like, outside walk, great. But understand where you're going and what places would best set you up for success in your goals, and not just kind of like, this is a place that people say is good, so I'll go.
Are you talking
Yeah.
about Verona?
No.
You vague posting about Italian cities?
No, I have specific thoughts about Italian cities, but none of them are applicable here.
I don't know. I think your thoughts about Verona could be applicable here.
I mean, I've only been to Verona once. I liked it.
Well, I've never been off this continent, so
Liked it a lot.
maybe you can talk about it.
It's one of the cities that oh god, the particle effects. There we go.
Can we go to Canada? I want to go to Canada.
Canada's great.
I mean, not right now.
Have you never been to Canada? Oh.
No, because we were gonna go to Canada, but no, stop glitching, stop glitching, stop glitching.
Are you okay?
No, it's glitching.
Oh, it's super glitchy. Oh, jeez.
There we go. I fixed it.
Okay.
I hit my mouse a bunch of times. We were gonna go to Canada, but the problem is when you get a passport in the U.S. and you're under 16, I think it is, you have to get another passport in 5 years, and usually you need a parent to go with you. When you get a passport over the age of 16, it works for 10 years, and you don't need a parent to go with you. So we were gonna go to Canada, and my mom thought my younger siblings' passports were still valid, but they weren't. And she didn't want to go get them new ones just to go to Canada because, like, they're gonna expire in 5 years. So we always get passports when we turn 16 because it's easier. And then she doesn't have to come with us later down the line. So 2 of my sisters didn't have passports, so we didn't go. But we're theoretically gonna go next December, not this December. Next December, theoretically. November, December area. That should be fun. Of 2021.
Yeah. No, Canada rules. I mean, most of it's flat and empty, and it does have, like, culturally there's some problems, as there are with all countries, but
Oh yeah.
the snack food's way better.
Oh yeah, we talked about this Leah the other day.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, let's not retread.
They have better snack foods? I want good snack foods. Mostly I just want a snack
Well, it's
right
because
now. Oh, yes, no, we did talk about this, sorry.
because the food, yeah.
Oh,
I will say that while it's good to, like, have a reason that you're going to the place you're going and, like, know beforehand what you want to do there, it's also good to, like, not overplan stuff sometimes.
Oh, definitely don't
plan out the
overplan.
structural parts. Like, if you go to a place, you probably already want to have, like, the way back planned out
Yeah.
and scheduled and bought and stuff like that, because all kinds of crazy stuff can happen. For instance, when I was stuck in New York that one time, I did have to, like, pay for 2 additional nights in a hotel, and if I'd, like, very carefully rationed out my travel money and was gonna have to, like, buy my home ticket, that could have been really bad. So, you know, it's best to be, like, fully prepped before you leave. But then it's like, from day-to-day stuff, you can afford to, like, screw around a little bit. While I
Oh, I
was
died.
in New York, I was like, for the first couple nights, I was like, let me just find a good place to eat. Ooh, this place looks interesting. Ooh, I don't know about this one. Is that one close enough? And, like, the whole time I was, like, looking this stuff up, I'd be getting, like, more and more hungry and cranky. And then at one point I was like, it's fucking New York. I'm just gonna pick a direction and walk until I hit something. And within 3 blocks, I found this great little breakfast bistro, and then I've went there, like, twice since then.
Nice.
So,
Yeah, you
sometimes
definitely
you
don't
can
want
just afford
to.
to screw around.
You don't want to micromanage your trip, but you want to understand what options are available to you, so that you have things to do and don't just kind of think like, oh well, I don't really know what I want to do, so I guess I'll do nothing. Have, like, a skeleton of a plan. Have some things that you want to see. and then, you know, let it be organic, but understand that, you know, there are... Hold on, try not to die here. Have a sense of what you want to accomplish, and then you can plan
No, I think
with that
you're
in
the
mind.
ghost.
What? I'm so confused.
She asked if you're fighting a ghost. I don't think so. I think you're the ghost. I think this guy wants to be the ghost of this place.
I haven't been paying attention to anything that's going on.
I like
in this
how all
mission.
these guys are just watching. They're just like, yeah, this is chill.
No, they mentioned that in the cutscene, but again, I wasn't really paying attention.
Oh, I wasn't here.
Anyway, we were talking about something. Sorry.
Travel things.
Indigo would like to
not
say that
over-planning.
that Italy's dome to no dome ratio pleases Blue.
Yeah. Greece's dome to no dome ratio was lacking until
Santorini.
was lacking until the Byzantines showed up, and then they did Hagia Sophia, and it's like, oh, this fucking rules, and then they made all of Greece domes.
Oh yeah, now we've got domes. I just need to finish this one data set. And
Oh,
if
I died.
finish this
Damn.
one data set,
This is a hard fight.
I will be done with this data set. No, stop. Ah. Part of the problem is I'm trying to remote desktop into a place via VPN, which is a lot of stress on the computer. And it doesn't help that we're all on the internet right now, doing internet things. So it's a little difficile to get this working. But I just need to get this one data set. And then I can be done for the weekend. That's all I need right now.
Hell yeah.
On the subject of Greece, sneak peek, the next video out of me is History Makers on Thucydides, because I wanted an easy win after the Cold War.
Yeah.
So I did the research on that, and I'm like, oh my god, it's actually been a really long time since I made a video on ancient Greece. This is fantastic. I miss this so much. I should make a bunch more videos on ancient Greece.
There it
so,
is.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, depending on what people comment on that one. If you want more, oh boy, can I make more. And I don't even have to retread stuff I've done before. Like, I haven't done really anything on, like, Mycenaean and Minoan Greece. Haven't done anything on, like, Greek colonization of Ionia and, like, Greek Italy, which was a whole thing. I haven't done, like, the Hellenistic period. Like, there's so much stuff that I can do, and not even, like, retread old content. It's great.
Hell yeah, now we've got more Greece.
Yeah. So anyway, I was like, I miss this. I miss Greece, because this is right about the time every year where I'd go to Greece.
Do you really miss Greece? Or do you just miss the idea of Greece?
And that's what I'm struggling with.
Because, like, I know you pretty well. Been
Yeah.
around for a few years now.
Yeah. Last year, after my Greece trip, I think I said never again.
You did, I said, I don't
Yes,
believe
you definitely did.
I think I said never again at first, and then 2 days later, I'm like, okay, again, but, like, not for a while.
Yeah, no, you said never again. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't believe you. Here's the, I think you want to go to Greece. You just don't want to go to the same part of Greece that you usually go to.
Yeah, I want to see, like, the rest of it.
I assure you, there's a difference between going to a place with a family trip and going to a place because you want to go to the place.
Yes, that's the third branch of traveling. There's tourism, traveling, and fulfilling family obligations, and they are three very different things.
Yep. Yeah, so, I think that maybe, like, a good trip, like, by yourself might be a nice palate, or not by yourself, but, like, not with the people that you normally go with,
Yeah.
and not to the places you normally go, might help cleanse the palais, as it were.
Palais. Is that a palate but French?
Yeah, exactly. It's a palate, but classier.
Yeah. Whew. Oh my gosh, it is so hot in here.
That's because we haven't had the air on all day.
I know. And then it got
Yeah.
warm.
And we have been streaming the full 2 hours, so.
Well, no, we didn't have the air on all day. Like, it's just been off. Because it was kind of cool last night, and I was not feeling great this morning. It was just, I was really cold, so we turned the air off at, like, 8 a.m., and it hasn't been on since then.
All right, do we want to keep playing, or are we feeling done?
It's up to you.
How are we feeling, team?
Yeah, we've hit the 2 hour mark, but I'm cool to keep playing if you want to do, like, another quick thing.
I'm cool to play until I finish this data set.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, I'm not playing. I'm also not
Sweet.
finishing this data set. But, oh, it's glitching.
All right, let's
Stop budget.
see what's over here.
You know what? Maybe
Maybe
I'm
end of
just
server
gonna be
location.
done for the day.
Maybe this is a sign to just leave it. I'm sorry, dear.
It's fine. It's just scrolling to Affinity right now. Oh, thank God it stopped. Okay. Let's just save. Save.
So I learned a new technique at the end of that fight. I'll have to try it out at some point because I definitely was not paying attention enough to understand how it works. I was barely surviving that battle.
So you beat the ghost lady or whatever her deal
Yeah,
was?
we
Wait, she was
beat
a
the
lady?
ghost lady. Yeah, it was a lady.
Oh,
I
I'm
think
down
she
for
was a
Ghost Lady.
Chat said she was a lady.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you, chat.
It was a little hard to tell because the resolution's a little iffy and it's dark and everyone's kind of wearing
yeah.
the same clothes anyway.
Yeah.
How can I tell it's women armor? Well, it's a armor on a woman, so it's woman armor.
Yeah, maybe if they'd sculpted more boobs onto it, I would have been able to tell
Yeah.
from this distance.
Yes, because clearly your armor needs a boob spot.
Oh, just definitely.
It's like people.
Am I going fully the wrong way?
It's like people
know
who
if
don't
I-
understand
no,
how sports bras work.
Oh, Jesus. Wait, okay. I've got to know what are some sports bra misconceptions because I feel like I've never heard these.
Oh, so there's like people who don't understand that like why sports bras are important first of all, and like
Really?
yeah, so there's some people who don't understand why sports bras are important. Like a normal bra is supportive. Why can't you just wear a normal bra while working out? Like they don't understand that for some people, not having your sports bra means you're not working out. It's just not happening. You
Yeah.
don't want to get smacked in the face. Like we're not doing that today.
It doesn't even need to be smacked in the face levels if it fucking hurts.
Exactly. And then there's also like some people just don't understand like what they do. They're like, why would you want to like make them go smush? And C, don't want to get smacked in the face and things hurt. Some people don't like if some people have to wear 2 sports bras because they don't make sports bras apart enough, and people just don't understand how that could be a problem.
Right. You know what? I'm gonna do a spicy take here and blame anime for this.
That's fair.
Anime makes everyone think that big jiggly boobs are somehow not the most ridiculously painful thing for the person jiggling.
Props to
I
Amelia.
assure you, it's not fun.
Props to Amelia in the
sorry,
chat
what?
who says, I'd like to see them work out in a push-up bra. You know, Amelia, so would I.
That's funny.
But yeah. And like, I've always been fairly lucky that I'm on the less necessary sports bra side of the range that you could have. But like, I still, like, I used to run a lot before my body gave up on me. So,
Right.
like, I'm not gonna go run, like, I'm not gonna go run, like, a 5K, or, like, even at one point I was running, like, half marathons. I'm not gonna go run a half marathon without a sports bra. That's going to hurt.
I'm not gonna run up the stairs without a sports bra. Are you kidding me?
Someone says, by some
listen,
people
when
you
I
mean
finally
men.
found-
Sometimes, most of the time, yes, men, but some men do get it, and also some women who are graced with very, very small boobs also don't quite get it. I was guilty of
Yeah,
that as
yeah.
a younger woman as well, which is why I didn't specify men.
Yeah, it's you know, it really varies. But yeah, when I finally found like a sports bra that actually like worked, I was like, holy shit, I'm never taking this thing off. So, you know, for some
Sometime-
people,
I was gonna say, sometime in college, I discovered, like, what they call them, like, high-impact sports bras, and fencing game was changed, let me tell you.
oh,
Is this a bra
man.
advert? Maybe it is.
That's right,
That's up
ladies.
to
Ever
you.
considered cupping the girls?
Today's stream has been sponsored by the concept of a bra.
It's always
I'll be right back. I'm gonna start up
funny
the
thing
oven.
is, of course, the whole thing about like, oh, bras are like restrictions. They're tools of like oppressors or something like that. I get the sentiment, but like, no, really, like, if you need them, you need them, man. It's not about any of that. It's like, it's a matter of health and safety, all right? So, yeah, it's anyway, this post brought to you by the Wearing Bras gang.
Yeah. Periodic reminder for anyone who didn't tune in at the beginning part of the stream. Not sponsored, but please consider checking out the Volante Design OSP themed red and blue masks that we've got. They're super cool, super well made, super comfy,
Yes.
stylish as fuck.
And they support good causes.
And they support a good cause, helping students.
Yeah.
Actually, we were originally working with
the Springfield public school system, which is very near to where Volante is based, they have decided to go full remote this year, or this fall. So currently we've bumped to one town over, Holyoke, still Massachusetts public school system, very similar to Springfield in terms of geography and like rough population makeup. But a sign of the fact that schools are yikes, and even more of a reason that it's important to help keep students safe. So
Get you, your kid, your cousin, your neighbor, get them a mask to
Yeah.
wear to school.
So if you can get a
And
mask for
support other
you,
masks.
that's great. If you want to, I'm glitching. If you want to choose the option to buy a mask for yourself and sponsor one for someone else, that's even better. Or if you don't need a mask for you, you can choose the option to just directly donate to Volante's mask making efforts. And all of the ad revenue and super chat revenue from this stream will get donated in turn to help them in what they're doing. So just by watching this stream, you're helping keep students safe. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Oh, people are asking if they ship internationally. I think they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
double check that.
Yeah, I think they do.
I think they do, though.
Yeah,
I think they
that's,
do.
that's good to do.
They probably have an FAQ page.
Yeah. And for the people asking, Blue, you are like officially modeling the mask on their page, right? Like, that's
Yeah, no, that picture is me. There was the other picture that is two of
Those
the
other two
Volante
people.
people, Mike
Yeah.
and Sarah, I think. And someone on our community post was like, "Oh my gosh, Red and Blue like look a little different. I can't believe Red cut her hair." Like, oh no, that's
No.
same basic character model, but we are different people. But yeah, no, on the page, one of the pictures is me, your boy. Red's mask is in the mail, but tragically got held up.
Yeah. Once it arrives, I will take a selfie and maybe they'll put it on the page too. Who knows?
Which is a reason it's important to support the post office. God, it's important.
Okay,
Yes.
I can't find anything, so I'm going to pretend to buy a jacket in France.
That's hilarious.
It's our stunt doubles. You fools, you captured your stunt double.
Oh. He was just trying to have a pig. I don't know what size I wear. Sure. I don't know what size I wear in number. Like, I know my measurements, but I don't know anything else.
Well, because you're not actually buying it, it doesn't really matter, right?
No, that's true. But they list a bunch of different countries in their shipping thing, so I'm just gonna pick France, estimate. Oh, I need a zip code. Hold on. Someone give me a
That's
French zip code.
Can't help you there.
It's okay, I'm Googling it.
When trying to kill the Straw Hat Ronin, aim for their big dumbass hats.
75001. Estimate. Yeah, no, they do ship internationally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They ship international.
And they have options. Obviously, international shipping can get expensive, so there is that. Probably less expensive if you order a mask than a jacket. But they do, in fact, ship internationally. It is confirmed at least to France.
Yeah.
The mask gets
Check their
lost
site
in
and see
Charles
the
de Gaulle
shipping.
trying to transfer between terminals.
Boop.
Oh,
Well, he's got a
Uh-oh.
helmet.
yeah.
If you were wearing a helmet, would that protect you from being shot in the head?
No.
Wait, that's not fair.
Damn.
Why not try shooting him in the leg?
Too late.
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
kill the next guy in the leg.
Ooh, lightning now. You should play
Yeah.
your flute. Now's
Hell
the
yeah.
time for that.
Nope, can't play it in combat.
For anyone who follows me on Instagram, you can totally guess what we're having for dinner tonight.
Only the legit Cyan Bakes fans will know.
And if you don't know, you'll follow me on Instagram and you'll find out in about 2 hours.
Hey.
But seriously though, don't follow me on Instagram if you're expecting anything other than food and the occasional cat pictures. That's all I post. It's not that interesting. I'm just not that interesting of a person, and you know, I only go home and to work most days nowadays.
I mean, I don't even do the, the second one.
Spoop.
Look at it this way.
You
At least
increased
you're
your
not an
life.
Instagram influencer.
What was that?
Attempts
No.
To make their life look interesting during this.
Oh,
At least
yeah.
you're not an Instagram influencer. Sorry, I was eating popcorn.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. I don't think I could ever be an Instagram influencer because I don't think particularly highly of myself. I think that's a prerequisite. No, not like that, but like, you know, I feel like in order to be like an influencer, you need to be willing to like put yourself out there and like be like, hey, like, I'll offer you this in exchange for this, and I'm just like, it's hard enough for me to ask for payment for like office work, like, let's be honest.
Yeah, I couldn't be an influencer because I'm not, what's the word, a raging narcissist?
Not even that, like, you don't have to be a narcissist, but you have to at least like think you're like you have value
Hot
of
shit
just
to an extent.
yeah, like
Yeah.
you have to think that you being yourself has value more than just like what you do, because that's what you're doing. You're pretty much like selling yourself, and I don't think I'm that interesting. So
Well,
I'll-
I wonder how many influencers actually think they're that interesting, because people who like genuinely believe they are like the hottest shit don't tend to actually like make an effort to back it up. They often just kind of do stuff and then assume that because they're doing it, it's automatically worthwhile. This is not me vague posting about Kanye West, but midway through that sentence, I realized it sounded like I was. But like, Instagram influencers tend to be like going to extreme lengths to make their lives look as glamorous as possible, which makes me think it's more about like there's a certain like a crust of insecurity underneath the
that's
layer
a
of
lot.
glamour.
Yikes.
What?
sorry,
No.
we're looking at different
We're
swords.
looking at the new swords, and this one hurts my eyes.
It kind of looks like a lightsaber.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm a fan of this one, but let's see what we can get. This one again looks like a 90s arcade toy made of plastic. This one's kind of cool. Kinda.
I like that one. I like that one.
Let's
I
do
like
this
the
one.
burbs.
Yeah, let's do the one with the burbs. Okay, sorry, Red. Continue.
Oh, I was just gonna say we got a comment from Think Fact saying it's games like this that make me really like the third-person view. They're verified, but I actually haven't heard of the channel, so thanks for stopping in.
Oh,
What?
Yep.
hope you enjoy the show.
Oh, I get it. They wanted you to use the blue sword because it was blue.
Oh, yeah, it's blue, but it's not a shade of blue that works with this vibe.
Cyan.
It's cyan plus eye pain.
That sword looks like a gun. Oof. But yeah, I don't know. I could never be an Instagram influencer, but like high key, would love for someone to just one day send me like a pan. Like that would be pretty neat. Come follow me on Instagram so one day a company will mail me a pan.
The thing with the word influencer is it completely just like gets rid of any
You
sense
just don't
of
want to
like
deal with those guys.
yeah, not at all. The word influencer completely removes the fact that the person like produces content of value, and it's like you tell people to do things and they do it, right, in the most strictly commercial sense, which is why like it's annoying enough when people send us emails like, we're an influencer marketing team and we think you'd be a great influencer for our influential
Oh, we're starting
audience.
to get bit ratey.
We're starting to get bit ready.
Yeah.
Oh well. There are a lot of particles
it
on
just
screen.
smoothed out, actually.
Oh yeah, look at that.
What was that?
It just smoothed out.
Yes, Indigo, I want a cookware PR package.
Um,
I like cooking and we only have the pans
but-
from when I was a sophomore in college.
It's bad enough when like other people call us influencers, but when people call themselves influencers, it's like, no, now you're being really disingenuous and not even trying to hide it.
The funny thing is, like, the term content creator has gotten a lot of mileage because it's basically a fancy way to say artist, because artist, people use it to mean like visual artist, when in actuality it's a broad term like doctor, but that's fine. But content creator is kind of the current thing. Like, what's your job? Oh, I'm a content creator. I'm an internet content creator. And that can mean like a million different things. But it means like something. Whereas influencer, it's like celebrity. It means famous because famous.
Yeah.
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 Because, like, I do know YouTubers...
And I feel kind of bad for them.
I do know YouTubers that, like, I follow on YouTube and also follow on Instagram that occasionally get, like, sponsored deals and stuff like that, or, like products they use, they'll be like, hey, I see that you use our product. We'll like, pay you to review it. And, like, they do that, but I think of that almost more like when you guys do any sort of sponsorship, because I wouldn't call any of them influencers because they don't, like, their whole career isn't made on, like, I do a thing, so then, like, here's me showing off this thing. Like, they do make other content, and then it just so happens that sometimes you get sponsors, because, you know, it's cheaper for people to advertise to YouTubers and sponsors than do a normal TV ad and probably reach more people anyway. But,
yeah, it's the most effective advertising you'll ever do is on YouTube.
Oh, also my Instagram is @cyan_bakes. I'm pretty sure you can find it on my Twitter, or you can just look up Cyan Bakes. It's the one of Blue from Foster's Home from Imaginary Friends giving a thumbs up.
I don't know what this bird is trying to sell me, so I'm just gonna leave.
The bird is an influencer.
It's like, check out my Insta. Link to my OnlyFans.
Hey, Mr. Samurai, I can't give you any gear or charms, but I can pay you an exposure.
Yeah. I'm looking for a part-time samurai bodyguard.
Oh. Watch, he's like trying to show you to a hot spring that you're just not going to find now.
Oh, I don't think there's any hot springs around here.
I mean, you're in a marsh. There could be a hot spring.
Not one that I would
I don't
want
think
to
I'd
use.
trust a hot spring in a marsh.
Ah. Birdfluencer.
Influencer.
Yeah. I don't know. Influencer culture always seemed kind of circular to me.
Oh, the word I was going to use
Bit of
was
an
insidious,
Ouroboros.
but go ahead.
Well, I mean, I think the fact that people buy into it is another thing entirely. I just don't get the fact that it exists at all. Like, there are people whose primary contribution to the world at large seems to be that they exist very loudly. And, I don't get what separates the people who exist loudly and become, like, quote-unquote influencers or celebrities, and the people who exist loudly and become that guy and get generally ignored. So it's just, there's a rule set here that I don't understand, and that frustrates me.
That's valid. I'm not sure that I really have a grasp on it. I think on a... Ooh, nope, gonna ignore you. On one level, it's like...
I don't know if they're gonna let you ignore them.
Creating something that is, you know, broadly enjoyable and, you know, in this ecosystem, easily digestible on the internet. Oh my god, it is a fucking hot spring.
I told you!
But this is a different place.
I don't care! I win!
You win. God, but this is not what the bird was showing me, because he was circling that. All right, get ready for some Sakai ass.
Oh, someone said we missed the obvious tweeting joke about bird influencers, and honestly, you're right. I'm sorry.
Reflect
Man.
on.
I'm
a
sorry,
lover's
Florence
touch.
Karmic.
A lover's touch? I'm sorry, what?
You're putting this on the internet. It's your choice.
Wow, Jin.
Okay. And your maximum health increased.
Dare I ask what's happening?
No, you'll
Because
see
I'm
it
on
in a
delay?
second.
Yeah, you'll
the
see it in a
screen's tiny.
second. Jin, buddy.
Tiny. It's really. He's out of the spring, and I don't know what you were talking about.
He said something along the lines of, "I wish I had someone else in here with me. It's been too long."
Jin, buddy, it's a good thing you keep those thoughts to yourself.
More like gin cell, am I right? Hey!
Oh no!
Oh.
Boo!
I'm sorry.
Oh no.
Yeah, sorry. Hey, listen, I didn't want to think it either, but he said it.
But you did say it!
Yeah, well, once it was in my head, I had to share it.
Do you ever just, like, open up your phone, like, why did I open up my phone? Because I just did that and I don't remember.
Oh, constantly. And then I put it in my pocket. I'm like, wait, I was gonna do a thing. And then I opened it and I'm like, what was it?
Yeah, I don't have pockets in the skirt,
It's like,
unfortunately.
let me look at my watch. Alright, fuck, what time was it?
Yep.
I'm trying to backtrack in thought, but all I can think about is Jin's butt, and I don't want to think about that.
You know, maybe this is where we call it.
Oh, maybe the bird was trying to lead you to the pillar of water.
Ooh.
Moonbear's Paw.
Oh, no.
For
We don't
Samurai,
have
who
the
is
history
both
of the
playful
bears in this
and
game.
deadly. I
Rawr.
don't like the look of the sword, the color, or what it stands for, so I will not
Rawr.
be using it.
Rawr.
No, no. Get
Well,
that
here
shit
it is,
out of here.
Samurai.
I mean, it's fitting with, like, what you decide to reflect on in the pond.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, alright, well, with that, that curse nonsense, gosh.
Cyan's having pizza. You're right, Adam, in the comments. I'm always having pizza on Fridays. Oh, your horse is running away.
Yeah, it's because the horse will spawn behind you unless the horse already, like,
Is
exists
spawned?
in the world and is spawned. Specifically if you're looking at it, and I was looking at it, so it's like, no, we can't pop the horse out of existence, we gotta use that one.
Nice thing is, after this, we get to have pizza.
Yeah, and then I don't have to do work for 3 whole days.
Woo.
2 whole days.
I was gonna
can
say, do
count.
you have Monday off? Do I have
No,
Monday off?
No,
I think
sadly.
our next day is off is September 1st.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh, I need to go disassemble some furniture this weekend.
Yeah, it's gonna be fine.
I was trying to donate it, but like all the places that do like furniture donations are closed because reasons.
Because the Backstreet Boys have just been like inundating them with furniture.
Those boys,
Yeah.
always those boys. So
It's gonna be weird to see how the world changes because of this, but
yeah,
No, Indigo, we don't have Monday off. I'm sorry.
yeah.
Indigo, you can have Monday off. That's a choice that you can make. But ooh,
Oh, yeah,
uh-oh.
Indigo-
Ow.
Indigo, you set your own hours. I set Blue's hours. Well, it's hard when we're both living together, and I have a pretty strict work schedule. If he works a completely
Yeah,
different
yeah.
work schedule, then you're working like when I'm like, hey, I'm off work, let's do something. So
Like sorry, can't.
Yeah,
Maps.
I'm like, no, curse you, maps.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Swordsmith.
mostly I work when I don't need to deal with anyone else.
Yeah, that's fair.
So-
You also set your own hours.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's great, and I get to set my own sleep schedule. The only problem is typically around 2 in the morning, I'll be like, "Why do I feel so?" Oh, it's because I haven't spoken to a human being in like 16 hours. Oops. So
Yeah. See, the thing is, we don't set our sleep schedule. Cleo sets our sleep schedule, and I set our work schedule. And Blue, you set kind of what we're having for dinner. Well, no, I
Not
just
really,
I
no,
decide
that's-
on that. Yeah.
yeah.
You okay it. You set our video game schedule.
Sure.
Aw.
everyone plays a part.
Blue
I'm
was
doing
middleman
my
the whole
part.
time. Indigo, you're right.
What did Indigo say?
Indigo said, "I've been her boss the whole time," and Blue's just been middle management.
Yeah. Ah, cool. Our katana's better. Look at that.
What do you mean your katana?
Can I please see the katana? Spends
katana.
5 minutes trying to jiggle the katana out of the case. Because it's a foam katana. And the case doesn't come off. God, I'll remember that till the day I die.
Did you try to do this?
Did I what?
Did you try to do that?
No, we tell the story like every other stream. It was this guy that we
This
saw at a
other guy
convention
tried to
earlier
do
this
it.
year,
Oh.
who was like super neckbeard. And he was like, "Excuse me, sir, could I please see the katana?" He already had like 3 on his person.
Oh, no.
And was like fidgeting with it, trying to take out the blade. But it was a foam katana sheath, so no blade.
This is
I always-
katana. She's got
I
my
always-
back.
Oh no.
No. I always feel kind of bad about getting like judgy at conventions because conventions are, you know, they're places for people to unabashedly be into the stuff that they normally like aren't loudly into, I assume. But at the same time, sometimes I wonder like what's going on in their head. like, like if this guy
actually been
had
to a
unsheathed
convention.
it and like raised it shining gloriously above his head, like 5 feet away from the novelty body pillows and 3 stalls down from the guy selling banners, and it's like, truly, your destiny has been fulfilled on this the show floor of C2E2. That's always like, I wonder how the narrative plays out, you know?
I want to go to a convention one day.
They're fun.
In the far future.
Oh, we gotta bring you. They're
the
really
problem is
fun
this year
in their own ways.
I still started my job too soon, so it wasn't gonna work out. And
also for other reasons.
yeah, and also I grew up in a area that wasn't like, we didn't live far from cities, but like it was enough of a pain that like Closest thing I went to a convention was when I was little. We went to the Harry Potter 7 release thing, and it was our local bookstore. We were like, yeah, this is so cool, but that's about as far as I've gotten. I have a lot of good costumes, though.
Convention. Ooh, you should definitely do that. Conventions and I have like an odd relationship, because I've been going to them since I was very little. And there was a period of time where I just like, I wasn't into them. I don't know. They just weren't working for me anymore. And then as like the channel got bigger and I kind of got like a little more professional, the way you engage with a convention changes, because then like maybe you're going to be on a panel or like on more than one panel or doing a talk or like being in the green room and stuff. And that, I like that a lot more. It's less crowded and it feels a lot less like weird to me. So
That's fair.
I don't know. It's definitely, and it really depends on the convention. Like mostly when I was younger, I went to like smaller sci-fi conventions, which are mostly like people who are like 30 years older than me and like professionals in the field. And it's a very different experience. And then, you know, I went to an anime convention with like a crew of high school or college friends, and that was very different. And I liked that rather less. But I mean, it's just, you know, it's all about personal preference. And for me, like, if a crowd is a certain level of big, I just stop being able to like process sounds. So that's not
a big
fun.
mood.
Anyway, it's just a whole thing. But we should definitely go to a convention when it becomes possible and not deadly anymore.
Well, we were supposed to go to VidCon this year,
yeah.
but now I keep getting emails about it. VidCon now online. It's like, I don't want to watch any of this. I wanted to go meet people who I have had friends with, you know, like friends of the channel that we like kind of talk with on Twitter every once in a while, but have never met. Like, I wanted to go meet those people. Like, we were gonna go hang out with Joe Cat. Fuck.
Yeah, it's fun. It's not about watching the video chat of like bigger people.
Yeah,
I like
it's
to hang
like,
out and go to a place I hadn't been.
I can go listen to a panel by Lindsay Ellis. Cool. I can go do that for 10 hours in the comfort of my home. It's called her channel.
That is kind of the inherent difficulty of selling people on VidCon. It should be the easiest thing in the world to sell people on videos by people who make videos, but no, that's not really how it works.
Yeah, it's like, oh, so it's this video that I can only watch once, and then it's not. No, I'd rather do the on-demand format.
In the words of Pokazette, VidCon, more like so long. I thought that was funny.
That's good.
Yeah. No, but I'm hoping that by next year, or like worst comes to worst, 2022 maybe. Fingers crossed. I'm not gonna jinx it. I don't know. I think it could be
I'm
fun.
feeling 2022.
Oh no.
Everything might be okay if you keep me far away from you.
You don't know
Because
about
social
me,
distancing.
but I wear my mask too.
That's a pretty good summation of this year. Oh my gosh.
I'm genuinely amazed that we haven't seen more like song parodies. I feel like if this had happened 5 years ago, they would be everywhere, and half of them would be about Frozen.
I mean, follow Chris Mann. He's been going wild on these COVID song parodies. The man's prolific.
Well, yeah. It's just like, that's like one person. I'm
I mean,
not seeing the concept.
Yeah, but he's really good, though.
No, I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying that the concept.
Yeah, valid. Oh man, we got through the entire stream and I didn't even go on a rant about my Cold War video. Oh, we'll have to save that for next week.
Woo! Yeah, baby.
I'm surprised the comment section hasn't been complete garbage on that, honestly. The Discord was a little spicy earlier, but the mods did a very good job, so it was okay.
And just maybe, you did a decent job.
Maybe I did okay. Maybe I did okay.
Yeah, good video.
Did I hear Taylor Swift's new album? I heard part of it, and then I had to go somewhere and stop listening to the rest of it.
All I heard is that she released it, and I feel bad because I kept seeing like, wow, folklore's trending. Are people doing more research?
Yeah.
It sucks when like people name things after stuff and then you can't Google the original thing anymore without getting the other thing.
Yep.
Like
There were a few
Twilight,
months
like have
there
fun
where
getting pictures
all
of the
I
sun
heard-
setting. You get sparkly ass vampires instead.
Or now whenever you look up Midnight Sun, instead of getting the cool like phenomenon, you get the shitty new Twilight book from Edward's perspective.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Did you not hear
Oh,
about
you
this?
haven't heard of this?
God,
God, you don't
damn
spend
it.
enough
So
time on the
funny.
right parts of the internet.
I don't.
Yeah.
By design.
It got released and then like instantly got pirated, because here's the interesting thing about all the people who were like fans of Twilight when they were like 13, is that most of them seem to have grown up, matured, and realized that Stephanie Meyer is kind of a bad person, but like looked at the franchise and their like deep affection for it as like, okay, but what did I actually like about this? What's the potential of these characters? And then just got really like into fan fiction and stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the like the biggest Twilight fan base are the ones who are like, let's pirate the book so we don't support this author. It's like, whoa, guys.
Wait, is Stephanie
okay.
Meyer a bad person? Is this a thing
This
that I
might be
didn't
a
know
conversation for another time.
about? Okay, alright. Well, this was a wonderful
Well,
stream.
Just I don't want to leave it hanging, but I don't want to go off on the tangent. But the short of it is, there's a lot of pretty shitty stuff in those books, and like the racism and the pedophilia directions and the constantly
Cool.
justifying why it's cool that this guy is soulmated with a baby, and it's not worrying that she's gonna age supernaturally quickly and reach physical maturity at age 7. It's fine. So it's like, that's a lot of work to justify something you didn't need to put in the book. So why did you put it in the book? You know.
This
and
is
the
approaching like
Baboon tribe
Heinlein
that she
levels
uses in
of
the book.
how many narrative backflips you're doing to justify this weird thing.
Well, it's not just that. Like the Native American tribe she uses in the book, the Quileute tribe, is like a real tribe, and
no.
they're not werewolves. Not, for instance, genetically predisposed to domestic abuse like the werewolves in her books are. And just there's just a lot. There's a lot. Especially, I mean, I've rewatched. I watched all the Twilight movies like a month back, and watching through it, I was tweeting about it, and I was like, this is really gross, actually. It's amazing that mostly people talk about like, oh, people don't like this because teenage girls liked it, and while I fully believe that that's a big part of it, there's also a lot of really, really shitty, creepy stuff in those books, and Midnight Sun appears to have doubled down on some of those bits.
Yeah.
So, it's just a lot. It's a lot. I'm not here to discourse about Twilight. I've like pointedly avoided reading the books when they were popular, and I only watched the movies because I was like, I need more bad movies.
Listen,
but, just
I
from my
did read the
perspective-
books. You're really
there's a
not
lot of
that
gross
far
stuff
off.
in
You're kind of you're getting it. You got it.
Okay, good. It's just watching it from like a neutral perspective. There's a lot of really weird shit in
Yeah,
there. And
I
you're
don't
like,
know if
why
the-
is this here? What does it mean?
I don't know if the movies touched on the whole like any like ethnic vampire gets their skin lightened when they turn into a vampire, but that was also
What?
okay.
Oh, cool. That's not in the movie. There's a black vampire in the first movie, and he just looks a little bit unhealthy.
Nope.
But
In
that's
the
fun.
books, they turn into white people now.
God.
Wow.
Oh my
The other
God.
fun part is that one of the main characters is like, he was a Confederate soldier when he was alive.
Oh, yeah.
There's no reason for this. It's just a thing. And there's apparently a lot of discourse in some of the fan base about whether or not this makes this character racist. Because aside from that, he's kind of one of the more interesting side characters. And the general consensus appears to be, no, he can't be racist. He was seduced by an evil Mexican vampire.
And you're like, oh my god.
So, yeah, you know, it's like when the bar is that low, you gotta start wondering why you're defending the book that hard. So,
Wow.
it's a lot. It's just, it's a lot.
Yeah. So
Woo!
that's that. Maybe just don't support that.
Yeah. Maybe it's just not worth it.
Cool. Well,
Cool. Well, on that
this
count-
has been a time. Have fun
way to
with
end. You can
my
check out
Cold
Red
War
Red
video, which is apparently the least spicy video we've put out today, in comparison with this stream. Yeah, we'll see you. We'll see you next week for some more streams.
Bye.
All right, everybody. Bye.
Oh, no.
Enjoy your
Sorry about
weekend.
that. Woo.
Go buy a mask.